The ancients taught that the universe was born from a sound, a single, sacred vibration. But before the sound, there was the silence, an infinite, potent emptiness from which all things arise, a womb of all possibility. What if your world, your personal universe, operates by this same primordial law? What if the answers you have been desperately seeking are not found in the noise you chase, but in the silence you have been taught to avoid? You have been searching for a long time. You have looked for peace in the validation of others, for fulfillment in the accumulation of things, for a sense of self in the roles you play. You have run towards goals, believing that happiness lay just on the other side of that one final achievement. You have listened to the cacophony of the world, the endless shouts of what you should be, what you must have, what you need to do. And yet, after all this searching, after all this running, there is a quiet question that surfaces in the dead of night. Is this all there is? The exhaustion you feel is not just physical, it is a soul weariness, a deep fatigue from holding up a world that was never meant to rest on your shoulders alone. This journey, the one we are about to begin, is not another search. It is a homecoming. It is not an escape from the world, but a return to the very center of your being, the only place from which the world can be truly met. We are not going to add anything to you. We are not going to give you new rules or more dogma. Instead, we are going to begin a process of radical subtraction, of letting go, of becoming beautifully, powerfully empty. Our path follows the rhythm of creation itself. First, we will step into the great silence. We will learn to walk into the sanctuary of the present moment, to find the anchor of our own breath amidst the storm of the unobserved mind. Here, in this sacred stillness, we will allow the healing to occur. We will allow the armor of past pain to melt away, not by force, but by the gentle warmth of our own awareness. We will learn to be the sky, vast and unchanging, and to see our thoughts and feelings as mere clouds passing by. This is the first half of the journey, the reclamation of your inner peace. Then, and only then, when you are rooted in the profound quiet of your own being, will we begin the second part of our work. From the fertile ground of silence, we will learn to use the word that awakens, the word that shapes reality. You will discover that your consciousness is the ultimate creative force, and your words, spoken from a place of deep alignment, are the tools that give it form. You will learn to speak your world into being, not as a hopeful wish, but as a calm declaration of what already is, in the deeper reality of your soul. This is not magic. It is the forgotten law of your own nature. It is time to remember. The journey inward begins now, in the space between this word and the next, in the space between your breaths. Before we can find the silence, we must first become intimately aware of the noise. We must sit with it, understand its nature, and acknowledge its power without judgment. For most of us, this noise is not just a background hum, it is the very soundtrack of our lives, a constant, relentless broadcast from which there seems to be no escape. This is the cacophony of the unobserved mind. Picture your mind for a moment, not as you wish it were, a serene temple of wisdom, but as it often is, a vast, chaotic, sprawling marketplace at midday. The air is thick with 1,000 competing scents. The ground is vibrating with the rush of 1,000 frantic feet. And the sound is overwhelming. This marketplace is populated by vendors, and each vendor is a thought, a belief, a memory, or an urge. They are all shouting, all clamoring for your attention, for your currency, which is your belief. In one corner, there is the vendor of past regrets. His voice is a mournful whisper that somehow cuts through all the other noise. He sells you replays of your mistakes, beautifully packaged in guilt and shame. He shows you the roads not taken, the words you should have said, the actions you wish you could undo. He has a special discount today on yesterday's failures. and you find yourself drawn to his stall again and again, spending your precious energy on a past that cannot be changed. You buy his wares, and you feel the familiar weight of them in your soul. Just across the crowded alleyway, a much more aggressive vendor has set up shop. This is the vendor of future worries. His voice is shrill, urgent, and laced with panic. He doesn't sell what has been, but what might be. He has an endless inventory of potential disasters, of what-if scenarios, each more terrifying than the last. He sells you anxieties about your health, your finances, your relationships, your purpose. He convinces you that danger lurks around every corner, that you must be hyper-vigilant, that peace is a luxury you cannot afford. You listen to his frantic pitch, and you feel your body tense, your breath grow shallow. You are preparing for a battle that exists only in his imagination, yet the fear is as real as the ground beneath your feet. Then there is the vendor of self-judgment, a particularly insidious merchant who has placed his stall in the very center of the marketplace. He doesn't shout. He speaks in a calm, rational tone that sounds deceptively like your own voice. His primary goods are comparisons. He holds up distorted mirrors that show you all your flaws, and then points to the seemingly perfect lives of others passing by. He whispers, "You are not enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, not lovable enough. Look at them, they have it figured out. What is wrong with you?" His words are poison, and yet you drink them as if they were water, because his voice feels like home, it feels like truth. And let us not forget the countless smaller stalls, the vendors of trivial distractions. They offer shiny, momentary pleasures. An old resentment to chew on, a sudden urge to check your phone, a fleeting gossip, a random memory from a decade ago. They have no grand agenda other than to pull your attention away from the present moment, to keep you perpetually scattered, your focus fragmented into 1,000 useless pieces. This is the marketplace of the unobserved mind, a chaotic, leaderless territory where every thought is a demagogue fighting for control. And here is the crucial point, the realization upon which your freedom depends. For most of your life, you have not been a visitor to this marketplace. You have been the marketplace itself. You have identified with the noise, with the chaos. You have believed that you are the vendor of regret, that you are the vendor of worry. You have mistaken the shouting in your head for your own true voice. This is the source of the profound exhaustion you feel. It is the fatigue of a constant internal civil war, a war where you are on all sides at once, a war where there can be no winner. You are a prisoner in a jail with no bars, a captive of a tyrant who is none other than the momentum of your own unobserved thinking. This stream of thought is not a conscious act. It is a compulsive, automatic, and deeply ingrained habit. The voices do not ask for permission to speak. They erupt. They possess your awareness and take you on wild rides into the past and future, leaving you depleted and disoriented, dropped back into a present moment you barely recognize, only to be snatched away again by the next thought that comes along. Observe the content of this noise. How much of it is truly useful, truly creative, truly kind? And how much of it is simply the grinding of old gears, the replaying of ancient programs, the echo of fears that are not even yours, but ones you inherited from your parents, from your culture? This mental static is not benign. It has a physical cost. It is the tightness in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the tension in your jaw. Your body is the battlefield where this invisible war is waged, and it is keeping the score. And here we arrive at the great lie, the foundational error upon which this entire chaotic kingdom is built, the belief that you are these thoughts. The assumption that the voice in your head, the narrator, the commentator, the critic, is the real you. As long as you believe this, you are enslaved. You will continue to be tossed about on the waves of your own thinking, a ship with no captain, at the mercy of every passing storm. But what if, for just one moment, you could entertain a different possibility. What if you are not the vendor and not the shouting? What if you are not the fear, the regret, or the judgment? What if you are not the marketplace at all? Imagine finding a quiet, hidden archway at the very edge of this bustling bazaar. You can step through it, and suddenly you are in a silent courtyard. From here, you can still hear the noise of the market. You can still see the frantic activity, but it is over there, and you are over here. It no longer pulls you in. It no longer defines you. You are watching, not participating. You are aware, not entangled. You realize with a sudden, breathtaking clarity that the noise happens within you, but it is not of you. You are the space in which the entire marketplace appears. This is the beginning of true freedom. The goal is not to silence the mind by force. It is not to argue with the vendors or try to shut down their stalls. That is an act of resistance, an act of violence, and it only creates more noise, more struggle. The vendor of self-judgment will simply open a new stall criticizing you for failing to be quiet. The goal is far more subtle and far more powerful. It is to simply change your position, to shift your identity from the thought to the awareness of the thought, to withdraw your belief, your precious currency, from the voices that do not serve you. This simple, non-judgmental act of noticing is the most radical thing you can do. To acknowledge the cacophony without condemning it, to see the vendor of fear begin his shouting, and to simply say, internally, there is fear, without becoming the fear itself. In that moment of observation, you create a sliver of space, a sacred pause, and in that space, for the first time, a different quality can emerge. A quality of peace, of stillness, of presence. It is in this newly discovered space that we will find our first anchor, our first tool to steady ourselves in the storm. The recognition of the noise is the first step. The next is learning to anchor ourselves in the silence that was always there, waiting patiently beneath it. We have stood at the edge of the chaotic marketplace of the mind. We have acknowledged the noise, the endless shouting of the vendors of fear and regret. In the very act of observing this chaos without judgment, we have created a small clearing, a sliver of space. Now, what do we do in this newfound space? How do we widen it? How do we make it our home? We do not fight the noise. Fighting is just more noise. We do not engage the vendors in debate. Arguing with a thought only gives it more power. Instead, we do something profoundly simple and radically different. We gently, deliberately, turn our attention to something more real, more fundamental, more present than any thought. We turn to the first anchor, your breath. Your breath is the most powerful and yet the most overlooked tool you possess for returning to the sanity of the present moment. Why? Because unlike your thoughts, which are constantly wandering through the labyrinth of past and future, your breath is always, and can only ever be, right here, right now. It is the physical manifestation of the present moment. You cannot take a breath in the past. You cannot exhale in the future. To be with the breath is to be here. It is the bridge between the unseen world of your mind and the tangible reality of your body. It is the rhythm of life itself, pulsing through you at every moment. Let us return to the image of the storm. If the chaotic thoughts and turbulent emotions are the waves crashing on the surface of the ocean, your awareness is the ship being tossed about. For so long, you have been adrift, believing you are at the mercy of every wave. The breath is your anchor. The simple act of turning your attention to the physical sensation of breathing is like releasing a heavy iron anchor from the side of your ship. Your gentle, focused attention is the chain, and the feeling of the air moving in and out of your body is the anchor itself. It sinks down, 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 past the turbulent surface waters, through the murky mid-levels, until it comes to rest on the deep, silent, immovable ocean floor. The ocean floor is the quiet, humming aliveness of your body, the ground of your being that is always present beneath the mental noise. Once the anchor has found the seabed, the ship is no longer adrift. The waves still crash against its hull. The wind of worry still howls through its rigging. The storm has not necessarily ceased, but the ship is held. It is steady. It has found its center in the midst of the chaos. This is the function of breath awareness. It does not eliminate the storm of thought, but it anchors you in a deeper reality, a reality where you are safe, present, and whole. I invite you now to experience this directly. There is nothing to achieve, nothing to force. This is an exercise in gentle observation. Find a position where your body can be at ease, but your spine can be relatively straight. You can be sitting on a chair, with your feet flat on the floor, or on a cushion on the ground. Let your hands rest gently on your lap. This is not a posture of rigid discipline, but one of quiet dignity, the posture of someone who is awake and present. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to gently close your eyes. If not, simply let your gaze soften and rest on a spot a few feet in front of you. The first and most important instruction is this: do not try to change your breathing in any way. Do not try to make it deeper or slower or more spiritual. Your body has been breathing perfectly without your help for your entire life. It knows what to do. Your only task is to feel it doing so, to become a silent witness to this ancient, effortless rhythm. Now, bring your attention inward and simply notice where you feel the sensation of the breath most clearly. For some, it is at the tip of the nostrils. You might feel a subtle coolness as the air enters and a gentle warmth as it leaves. There is no need to imagine it. Just feel the raw physical sensation. For others, the sensation is most prominent in the chest, the gentle rise and fall, the expansion and release. Or perhaps you feel it deeper in your abdomen as your belly gently swells with the in-breath and softens with the out-breath. There is no right or wrong place to feel it. Simply choose one spot and let your attention rest there, as gently as a butterfly resting on a flower. Feel the full duration of one in-breath, from the very beginning to the middle to the very end. Then feel the full duration of the out-breath, from its beginning to its end. That is all. Just this one breath, and now this one. Inevitably, the vendors from the marketplace will call out to you. After a few moments, or perhaps only a few seconds, you will find that your attention is no longer on the breath. It has been hooked by a thought, a memory, a sound, a plan. You will suddenly realize that for the last several minutes, you have been composing an email in your head, or replaying a conversation, or worrying about tomorrow. This is not a failure. I repeat, this is not a failure. It is simply what the mind does. It is the nature of the unobserved mind to wander. The magic is in what you do next. The moment you realize you have wandered, you have already woken up. That moment of realization is a moment of pure awareness, a moment of victory. And in that moment, there is no need for self-recrimination, no need to sigh and think, "I'm no good at this." That is just another vendor trying to sell you a story of failure. Instead, you simply, gently, and with the kindness you would show to a small child, guide your attention back to your anchor, back to the physical sensation of the breath. This is the practice. It is not about achieving a state of perfect, unbroken concentration. It is about the gentle, patient, repeated act of returning. Each time you get lost in thought and then gently return to the breath, you are strengthening your muscle of awareness. Each return is a vote for presence over distraction. Each return is a declaration of freedom. You are training yourself to be the master of your attention rather than its slave. As you rest with the breath, you may start to notice more subtle qualities. You may notice the tiny pause at the end of the in-breath before the out-breath begins, and the slightly longer pause at the end of the out-breath before the next breath arises. These pauses are moments of profound stillness. They are the silent courtyard at the edge of the marketplace. They are gateways into the deep peace that is your true nature. Do not seek them out, just notice them when they appear. This anchor is not a tool to be used only in quiet meditation. It is a lifeline that is available to you in every moment of your waking life. When you are in a difficult meeting, feeling stressed and overwhelmed, you can bring a sliver of your attention to the feeling of your breath. No one will know you are doing it, but you will feel yourself becoming anchored, less reactive. When you are stuck in traffic, feeling impatient and angry, you can return to the anchor. When you receive difficult news, before you spiral into panic, you can take a single conscious breath, feeling the air enter your body, feeling it leave. In that one breath, you create a space, and in that space, you find choice. You find the power to respond with wisdom rather than react from fear. For now, just rest here. With the simple, miraculous, life-giving rhythm of your breathing, you have experienced the difference between being lost in the storm and being anchored within it. You have tasted a stillness that exists right here, right now, underneath all the noise. This is the first practical step in realizing a profound truth. You are not the storm. You have an anchor because you are not adrift. You are something far more vast, far more stable. You are the stillness that holds both the storm and the anchor. And that is where we will go next. We have found our anchor in the breath. We have learned that it is possible to be steady even when the surface of our inner sea is turbulent. This steadiness allows us to lift our gaze from the waves and notice something even more profound about our nature. We have been so focused on the storm, on the moment-to-moment drama of our thoughts and feelings, that we have failed to ask the most fundamental question. If your thoughts and emotions are the ever-changing weather, then who or what are you? The answer is at once simple and life-altering. You are not the weather. You are the sky. This is not just a beautiful idea. It is a direct description of reality. I invite you to contemplate this deeply. Your consciousness, the very field of awareness in which all your experiences arise, is like a vast, open, limitless sky. And every thought, every feeling, every sensation, every memory is like a cloud that appears in that sky. Think of the clouds in all their forms. There are dark, heavy, ominous storm clouds. These are the states of anger, grief, despair, or intense fear. They roll in, block out the light, and unleash their energy as thunder and rain. They feel all-consuming, as if the entire world has turned dark. Then there are the light, wispy, fast-moving clouds of everyday thinking. These are the fleeting worries, the snippets of plans, the random daydreams that drift across your mind, here one moment and gone the next. Sometimes a thick grey fog descends. This is the state of confusion, depression, or feeling lost, where you cannot see clearly in any direction, and a heavy sense of disorientation pervades everything. And, of course, there are the bright, puffy, beautiful white clouds on a sunny day. These are your moments of happiness, joy, excitement, and peace. They are wonderful to behold. For your entire life, you have lived with a profound and painful mistaken identity. You have believed that you are the clouds. When a dark cloud of anger appeared in your inner sky, you did not say, "I am aware of a feeling of anger passing through me." You said, "I am angry." You collapsed your entire identity, the vastness of your being, into the temporary shape and energy of that one cloud. When a cloud of sadness came, you said, "I am sad," and you became that sadness. You drew no distinction between yourself and the experience. This identification is the primary source of human suffering. When you believe you are the storm cloud, you are tossed about by its winds and soaked by its rains. Its turbulence becomes your very nature, and when a beautiful, happy white cloud drifts by, you cling to it desperately. You think, This is me. This is who I want to be. And you live in a state of subtle anxiety, terrified that it will change shape or drift away, which, being a cloud, it inevitably will. By identifying with the ever-changing weather, your sense of self becomes as unstable and unpredictable as the weather itself. You are happy one moment, miserable the next, and you feel like a helpless victim of your own inner climate. But the sky is not the clouds. The sky does not become the storm. The sky is the silent, spacious witness that allows the storm to happen. The sky holds the storm, but it is not damaged by it. After the most violent hurricane has passed, the sky is just as blue, just as pristine, just as silent as it was before. The storm does not leave a scar on the sky. This is your true nature. Your awareness has the qualities of the sky. It is spacious. There is enough room in you to hold every possible thought and emotion. It is vast enough for the greatest joy and the deepest sorrow. Nothing is too much for it. It is also silent and impartial. The sky does not judge the clouds. It doesn't say, "Oh, another one of those ugly gray clouds, I wish it would leave." Nor does it chase after the beautiful white ones. It simply allows them all to be, to arise, and to pass in their own time. This is the nature of your core awareness. It is a silent, allowing presence. Most importantly, the sky is ever present. On the darkest, most overcast day, when the clouds are so thick that you cannot see even a sliver of blue, the sky has not gone anywhere. It is still there, vast and clear and untouched, just above the layer of clouds. Your true nature, your inner peace, your silent awareness has not gone anywhere, even in your darkest moments. It is simply, temporarily, obscured. Let us try to experience this directly. Come back to your anchor, the feeling of your breath. Let it steady you. Let it bring you into the present moment. Now, as you sit here, breathing, I invite you to imagine that your own consciousness, the sense of I that is listening to these words, is a vast, open sky. It has no edges, no center, no borders. It is just open, aware space. Now, simply watch the weather of your mind. Whatever arises, let it be a cloud, a thought about what you need to do later. See it as a small gray cloud drifting from one side of the sky to the other. A feeling of boredom or restlessness. Let it be a patch of unsettled, churning fog. A memory from your childhood. Let it be a cloud with a specific shape, a familiar form. Your job is not to make the clouds go away. Your job is not to analyze the clouds or figure out where they came from. Your only job is to be the sky. Your only job is to remain as the vast, open, allowing space in which these clouds appear and disappear. You might find it helpful to silently and gently label the clouds as they pass. When a chain of thoughts begins, you can just label it thinking. Not I am thinking, but just thinking. When a feeling of sadness arises, you can label it sadness present. This simple act of labeling creates a separation. It reinforces the truth that you are the one who is aware of the thought. You are not the thought itself. You are the sky noticing the cloud. Pay attention to the space between the thoughts. In the same way there is space between clouds in the sky, there is a silence between your thoughts. Feel that silence. Rest in it. That space is not empty. It is full of peace, full of presence. That space is you. When you learn to rest as the sky, your entire relationship with your own mind and emotions changes. Pain may still arise, that is the energy of the clouds. But suffering, which is the result of identifying with the clouds and resisting them, begins to dissolve. You can experience a wave of sadness without the secondary story of, I am a sad person, something is wrong with me. You can simply allow the energy of sadness to move through the vast space of your being, honoring it without becoming it. You develop a deep and unshakable resilience because you know that no weather, no matter how intense, can harm you. You are the space in which it all happens. This gives birth to a profound compassion, first for yourself. You stop judging yourself for your bad weather. You see it as a natural process, and then you can extend this to others. When you see someone else lost in a storm of anger or fear, you no longer see a flawed or broken person. You see a vast, beautiful sky just like you, who has temporarily forgotten their nature and become identified with a cloud. This is not an intellectual concept. It is the liberation that your soul has been crying out for. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your story. You are the space for everything and the victim of nothing. You are the sky. Rest in this knowing. Feel the freedom of it, the quiet strength, the immense peace. From this vast, open, and compassionate sky of awareness, we now have the stability and the courage to look at even the darkest, most persistent storm clouds, the ones that seem frozen in place, the old, icy clouds of past pain, and we can learn not to fight them, but to allow them, finally, to dissolve. We are resting as the sky, vast, open, and unafraid. From this place of profound stability, we can now turn our compassionate gaze towards the clouds that seem to refuse to move. The old, dense, frozen clouds that have lingered on the horizon for years, sometimes for a lifetime. These are the unprocessed, unfelt pains of our past. The lingering griefs, the quiet resentments, the silent heartbreaks. For too long, we have either tried to fight them or pretended they were not there. Today, we will learn a new way, a way of gentleness, a way of healing. When we experience a pain that is too overwhelming to feel in the moment, the psyche has a defense mechanism. It takes that raw energy of the hurt and it freezes it. It encapsulates it, walls it off, so that we can continue to function. This is a brilliant survival strategy, but it comes at a cost. Each unresolved hurt, each unshed tear, each unspoken grief becomes another thin layer of ice over our heart, over our energy field. Over the years, these layers accumulate, creating a thick, heavy armor of frozen pain. We think this armor protects us. We believe it keeps us safe from being hurt again. And in a way it does. But it also numbs us. It keeps us from feeling the warmth of true connection, the vulnerability of love, the simple joy of being alive. It makes us rigid, reactive, and defensive. We live inside a fortress of our own making, and we wonder why we feel so isolated, so cut off from life. Our usual strategy for dealing with this ice is one of violence. We get angry at it. We hate our own sadness. We judge our own fear. We try to chisel away at it with endless mental analysis, replaying the story of who hurt us and why, over and over again, hoping to understand it into submission. Or we try to smash it with sheer willpower, declaring, "I will not feel this way anymore." But what happens when you strike a block of ice with a hammer? It doesn't disappear. It shatters into 1,000 sharp, painful shards that cut you even more deeply. Resistance to your own pain only creates more pain. Self-violence is never the path to healing. There is another way, a way of wisdom and profound gentleness. You do not fight the ice, you melt it. And what melts ice? Not force, not analysis, not judgment. Warmth, the steady, gentle, persistent warmth of the sun. In this sacred inner work, the sun is your loving, compassionate, non-judgmental awareness. It is the quality of presence that you have been cultivating. It is the vast, open sky of your true nature, which is inherently warm and allowing. This process requires courage, but it is the courage of softness, not of hardness. Before we begin, know this: you are in control. We will only go as far as feels safe for you today. Your breath is your anchor, always here to steady you. The sky of your awareness is your ultimate refuge, always here to hold you. You can return to them at any moment. I invite you now, from this place of safety, to allow a past hurt to gently come to mind. Do not choose the most catastrophic trauma of your life. Start with something manageable, a persistent, familiar ache, a lingering sadness over a loss, a quiet resentment from a betrayal, a shadow of shame from an old mistake. Let the memory arise, but try to resist the temptation to immediately dive into the story. The story who did what, why it was unfair, what should have happened is just a collection of clouds. For now, we are interested in the energy beneath the story. As you hold this memory gently in your awareness, ask yourself this question: where does this feeling live in my body? Our bodies are the storehouses of our unprocessed emotions. The mind may forget, but the body remembers. So, scan your body with a curious, kind attention. As you think of this past event, where do you feel its echo right now? Is it a tightness in your throat, as if there are words that were never spoken? Is it a hollowness or a heavy weight in your chest? Is it a sick, twisted knot in your stomach? Perhaps it's a coldness in your hands or a weakness in your knees. There is no right or wrong answer. Be a gentle scientist of your own inner experience. Without judgment, simply locate the physical sensation. Once you have found it, this is your only task: to stay with it, to be with it, to bring your attention directly to that place in your body. Now, use your breath as the vehicle for warmth. As you breathe in, imagine you are breathing a soft, warm, golden light, the sunlight of your awareness directly into that frozen place. As you breathe out, just feel the sensation, allowing it to be exactly as it is. You are not trying to make it go away. This is crucial. You are not trying to fix it or heal it or change it. You are finally giving this wounded part of yourself the one thing it has been crying out for, perhaps for decades: your simple, loving, undivided attention. You are surrounding this old pain with the warmth of your presence. You are offering it sanctuary. You are communicating to it without words, a message it has never received before. Silently, you are saying, "I see you, I feel you, I know you are there. You are allowed to be here. You are a part of me, and I will no longer abandon you. You are safe now." Just be with the raw sensation. Feel its texture. Is it sharp or dull? Is it vibrating or still? Is it hot or cold? Stay out of the story in your head and stay in the feeling in your body. As you continue to surround this sensation with your warm, accepting presence, you may notice it begins to change. It might intensify for a moment as it is felt for the first time. This is normal. Stay with it. Breathe. You are safe. You are the sky holding the weather. Then, it may begin to soften, to loosen its grip. The knot might begin to untangle. The ice might begin to melt. You might feel it dissolving into waves of heat, or tingling, or a gentle vibration. You may find tears beginning to flow, tears that have been frozen for years. Let them come. They are the sound of the ice melting. What is happening here is a form of alchemy. You are metabolizing old energy. You are allowing a frozen emotion to complete its natural life cycle. Every emotion is simply energy in motion. It only becomes stuck, frozen, when it is resisted. By finally allowing it to be felt, you are allowing it to move, to flow, and to release. You are not forgetting the past. Forgetting is not the goal. The goal is freedom. The memory of what happened may remain, but it will no longer have the painful, emotional charge. The story will no longer be able to hijack your nervous system. You are reclaiming your power from the past. This is the very heart of self-compassion. You are becoming the loving parent to the wounded child within you. You are giving that younger part of yourself the safety and acceptance that it did not receive at the time of the original wound. You are healing yourself from the inside out. This is slow, sacred work. You do not need to melt the entire glacier in one sitting. One drop of melted ice is a profound victory. Each moment that you spend bringing warmth to a frozen place within you, you are becoming more whole, more integrated, more free. You are dissolving the armor piece by piece. And as the armor melts, you begin to discover that beneath it lies not a terrifying void, but a vast and fascinating inner landscape, a world of sensitivity and wisdom waiting to be explored. You are no longer a soldier defending a fortress of pain. You are becoming an explorer, charting the rich geography of your own soul. As the armor of past pain begins to melt, the ice recedes, and the water of life begins to flow again. What is revealed is not a barren wasteland, as we might have feared, but fertile ground, a whole new world. For most of your life, you have lived in a tiny, walled village on the shores of a vast, undiscovered continent. That continent is your own inner self. The village is your conscious, everyday mind, the familiar loops of thought, the known fears, the comfortable routines and identities. It feels safe within these walls, but it is a profoundly limited existence. The walls themselves are built from the stories you tell about yourself. I am this kind of person. I am not good at that. I always react this way. Beyond those walls lies the vast, uncharted territory of your being. The mountains and forests, the deserts and rivers, the hidden caves and sunlit meadows of your deeper self. This is the 99% of you that you rarely visit. It is the realm of your intuition, your raw emotions, your shadow aspects, your dormant creativity, and your deepest spiritual potential. Now, having found the courage to feel, you are ready to step outside the village gates. It is time to stop being a nervous villager and to become a brave explorer. For this journey, we must adopt a new mindset. We must leave behind the mind of the judge, the colonist, who enters a new land with the intent to control, to tame, to exploit. This is how we have treated ourselves for so long. When an unfamiliar feeling arises, a surge of anger, a pang of envy, a wave of deep sadness, the judge immediately appears. He labels the feeling bad, negative, or unspiritual. He tries to suppress it, exile it, or eradicate it. This is an act of fear. It is an act of inner violence. It ensures that the continent of your soul remains a place of conflict and mistrust. Today, we adopt the mindset of the explorer, the sacred cartographer. An explorer's primary quality is not judgment, but boundless curiosity. An explorer does not enter a new land to conquer it, but to understand it. They observe, they listen, they feel. Their goal is to create an accurate, honest, and beautiful map of what is, not a sanitized, wishful thinking version of what they think should be. They approach the unknown with respect, awe, and a spirit of adventure. This is the attitude we must now cultivate towards ourselves. So, let us begin to map the geography of your inner world. As you sit in the quiet of your own being, you will begin to notice its diverse terrain. There will be valleys, deep and shaded, where the rivers of sorrow and grief flow. The judge avoids these places, calling them dark and depressing. The explorer, however, knows that valleys are often the most fertile places. It is here, in the lowlands of your being, that the soil is enriched by the waters of your own tears. It is here that compassion and resilience grow like lush, green forests. The explorer learns to sit by the river of their own sadness, not to drown in it, but to simply observe its current, to learn its quiet wisdom, to let it cleanse and nourish the landscape. You will also discover mountains, their peaks soaring into the clear, open sky of your awareness. These are your moments of profound joy, of inspiration, of creative flow, of deep connection to life. The judge becomes attached to these peaks. He tries to build a permanent house on the summit of a fleeting joy, and then suffers immensely when the weather changes and he must descend. The explorer, however, climbs these mountains with gratitude. They savor the exhilaration and the expansive view, knowing it is a temporary state. They take a mental photograph, They breathe in the crisp, clear air, and they know that the experience has enriched them, even as they begin their descent back into the ordinary plains of daily life. They do not cling. On your map, you may find active volcanoes rumbling with the fiery, molten energy of anger and rage. The judge is terrified of these. He tries to cap the volcano, to suppress the pressure, which is the most dangerous thing one can do. This only guarantees a more violent and destructive eruption later on. The explorer respects the immense power of the volcano. They observe it from a safe distance, from the sky of their awareness. They understand that this is not a negative energy. It is a raw, creative, life force energy that is simply saying no. It is the energy of setting boundaries, of protecting one's integrity. The explorer does not condemn this fire. They seek to understand its message and to find safe, constructive channels for it to flow. There are also the ancient forests of your subconscious. These are places filled with strange flora and fauna, where the light filters down in mysterious ways. This is the realm of symbols, of dreams, of archetypes. It is here that your deepest intuition speaks to you, not in clear sentences, but in feelings, images, and synchronicity. The judge fears this forest. He wants everything to be logical, rational, and well-lit. He dismisses intuition as fantasy. The explorer, however, enters this ancient forest with reverence and humility. They do not carry a machete to hack their way through. They carry a listening heart, knowing that the whispers of the soul can only be heard in the quiet, mysterious places. And finally, you will encounter deserts. Vast, seemingly empty expanses of boredom, listlessness, or what feels like a spiritual void. The judge flees the desert. He calls it unproductive, a waste of time, and immediately seeks a distraction, another vendor in the marketplace of the mind. But the explorer knows the secret wisdom of the desert. They know that it is in the desert that the stars shine most brightly at night. It is in these periods of seeming emptiness that the ground of your being is resting, clearing, preparing for a new season of growth. These states are not a void to be feared. They are a sacred clearing that allows for deep rest and for new, unexpected inspiration to arise from the depths. To navigate this magnificent and wild inner continent, you need two essential tools. Your compass is the wisdom of your body, the felt sense we have been practicing. Your body will always point you towards your personal true north. It will tell you what needs your attention, what is ready to be healed, what is asking to be discovered. Your map is your non-judgmental awareness itself. Each time you observe a feeling, a thought, or a sensation without getting lost in it, you are adding another beautiful, intricate detail to your inner map. You are becoming the master cartographer of your own soul. The goal of this great exploration is not to fix or perfect your inner landscape. It is not to level the mountains, drain the valleys, or pave over the deserts. The goal is wholeness. It is to know, to accept, and to befriend all of your inner territory, to be at home in yourself, no matter the weather or the terrain, to reclaim all the exiled parts of your being and invite them back to the council fire of your heart. When you are no longer at war with your own inner world, the immense energy you were wasting on inner conflict is freed. This liberated energy becomes the fuel for creating a beautiful and authentic life in the outer world. This exploration, this charting of the soul, is the great adventure of your lifetime. And it is, by its very nature, a journey you must often take alone. It requires the courage to step away from the noise of the tribe, to venture into the untamed wilderness within. It requires an embrace of something that many people fear most: true, profound solitude. As the explorer of your own inner continent, you begin to chart its vast and varied landscapes. You learn to sit with the rivers of sorrow and to climb the mountains of joy. This exploration, this sacred cartography of the soul, is the great adventure of your lifetime, and it is, by its very nature, a journey you must often take alone. It requires the courage to step away from the noise of the tribe, to venture into the untamed wilderness within. It requires an embrace of something that many people in the modern world fear most, the state of being alone. And here, we must make the most important distinction of all, the distinction between the painful sting of loneliness and the profound richness of solitude. Let us first speak of the ghost that haunts the modern world. Loneliness. It is a cold ache in the center of the chest, a feeling of being unseen, unheard, invisible. It is the painful awareness of a gap between you and others, a feeling of being on the outside looking in, a ghost at the feast of life. In our hyper-connected world, where we are surrounded by digital crowds and phantom friends, the experience of loneliness has become an epidemic. We have mistaken connectivity for connection, and the result is a deep, pervasive sense of isolation. The vendor of self-judgment in our inner marketplace seizes upon this feeling with glee. He whispers that you are alone because you are unworthy, because you are unlovable, because there is something fundamentally wrong with you. And in this state of pain, we scramble, we seek distraction, we swipe, we scroll, we consume, we busy ourselves, doing anything and everything to avoid the chilling silence that reminds us of our separateness. But we must look deeper. The root of loneliness is not, in fact, the absence of other people. The root of loneliness is the absence of a connection to oneself. This is why you can be in a crowded room, at a loud party, surrounded by friends and family, even in a long-term marriage, and feel a loneliness so profound it feels like a black hole. You are surrounded by people, but you have abandoned yourself. You are a stranger to your own inner continent. You have been living exclusively in the tiny, walled village of your ego. And so when there is no one outside of you to reflect your existence back at you, you feel as though you might disappear. Loneliness is the cry of a part of you that has been exiled, a soul that has been left unattended. It is the terrifying feeling of sitting in an empty room and believing that the room is all there is. It is the desperate focus on the door, praying that someone, anyone, will walk through it and rescue you from yourself, rescue you from the echoing emptiness. The silence in this room is deafening because it is not true silence. It is filled with the frantic noise of your own unmet need, the desperate chatter of a mind that cannot bear its own company. Now, I invite you to consider a radical shift in perception. What if we were to change our relationship with this room? What if, instead of seeing an empty room, we began to see a sacred space, an open sanctuary, an artist's studio, a philosopher's library? This is the momentous shift from loneliness to solitude. Solitude is the art of entering the very same room, the same state of being alone. And instead of staring anxiously at the door, you turn your attention inward. You close the door with a gentle click, not to shut the world out, but to fully welcome yourself in. And in that moment, you make a miraculous discovery. The room is not empty. The room is filled with you. It is populated by the vast and fascinating geography of your inner world. It is a holy temple, a sanctuary of the self. The silence is no longer deafening. It is eloquent. It is pregnant with wisdom, humming with a quiet energy. It is the sound of your own soul breathing, finally audible now that the clamor for external validation has ceased. Loneliness is a state of lack. Solitude is a state of profound fullness. It is the richness of your own presence. It is the feeling of coming home. In loneliness, you are waiting to be chosen. In solitude, you are the one who chooses. You choose your own company. You choose to sit with yourself, to listen to yourself, to befriend yourself. This is the ultimate act of self-love, the ultimate declaration of inner freedom. Here is a truth that may seem counterintuitive. A deep capacity for solitude is the prerequisite for true connection with others. If you cannot bear your own company, You will approach others not as a whole person, but as a hungry half, seeking someone to complete you. If you enter relationships from a place of desperate need, you are not seeking connection. You are seeking a host for your own unresolved emptiness. You will be a taker, not a giver. And the relationship will be built on the fragile foundation of dependency. You will demand that others fill a void that they did not create and can never truly fill. This is the source of so much conflict and disappointment in our relationships. But when you have cultivated the richness of your own solitude, everything changes. You have explored your own inner continent. You have sat by your own rivers of sorrow and climbed your own mountains of joy. You have learned that you are your own sanctuary, that your peace is generated from within. You are no longer an empty room waiting to be filled. You are a temple filled with your own light. And when you go out into the world and meet another person, you meet them from this place of wholeness. You are not there to take, you are there to share. You can offer them the gift of your presence, your full, undivided attention, because you are not secretly distracted by the gnawing hunger of your own loneliness. You can love them for who they are, not for what they do for you. Your connection becomes cleaner, clearer, and infinitely deeper. Every great spiritual teacher, every profound artist, every revolutionary thinker in human history has understood the non-negotiable power of solitude. Moses went to the mountain. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree for 49 days. Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. Muhammad received his revelations in the cave of Hira. Thoreau went to his pond. Einstein played his violin. These figures did not retreat from the world because they hated it, but because they needed to hear a voice that was drowned out by the noise of the tribe. They needed to hear the voice of God, of the universe, of the self. In solitude, the signal of the soul becomes clear, free from the static of the collective. It is where you unplug from the world's operating system so you can reboot your own. So, how do we begin this practice, especially when the initial feeling of being alone is so uncomfortable? You do not need to book a cabin in the woods for a month. The practice of solitude begins in the small, intentional pockets of your everyday life. It is about quality, not quantity. Begin with just 5 minutes. Find a time in your day where you can be reasonably sure you will not be interrupted. Go into a room, close the door, and put your phone in another room entirely. This is non-negotiable. The phone is the great enemy of solitude. Then, simply sit. Do nothing. Do not read. Do not listen to music. Just sit. In these first few minutes, you will likely feel a powerful urge to distract yourself. The vendors of the marketplace will go into a panic. This is boring. You should be doing something productive. What if you miss an important message? Feel this discomfort. It is the withdrawal symptom from our addiction to noise. Do not flee. Just sit with it. Let the discomfort be a cloud in the vast sky of your awareness. Come back to your anchor, the breath. Simply be with yourself for 5 minutes. This is a radical act. Then try a solitary walk. Again, no headphones, no podcasts, no phone calls. Walk simply for the sake of walking. Let your senses become your companions. Notice the precise shade of green on a leaf. Notice how the sunlight filters through the branches. Notice the feeling of your feet making contact with the ground. Listen to the sounds of the world around you. Let yourself be an explorer of the outer world as a quiet way of connecting to your inner world. When you feel a little braver, take yourself on a date. Go to a cafe or a restaurant. By yourself, intentionally. Bring a journal and a pen, not as a shield to hide behind, but as a companion to converse with. Order your coffee and just be. Observe the people around you with a gentle, non-judgmental curiosity. Observe your own thoughts as they arise. Write down what you feel, what you see. Discover what it is like to be your own interesting dinner date. You may feel self-conscious at first, This is the judge worrying about what others think. Let that be a cloud too. Your commitment is to yourself, not to the imagined opinions of strangers. As you practice, curate your physical space. Make the place where you spend time alone intentional and beautiful. Before you sit, take 2 minutes to tidy the space. Light a candle. Perhaps create a small, simple altar with a few objects that are meaningful to you: a stone, a feather, a flower. This is not about religion. It is about signaling to your subconscious mind that this is a sacred and important time. You are entering your temple. Be prepared for challenges. When you first sit in the silence, the noise of your mind may seem to get louder, not quieter. This is perfectly normal. The vendors are shouting because they are not used to being ignored. Stay the course. The initial crescendo of noise is the sign that the purification is beginning. It is the storm before the calm. And in this quiet space, things you have been running from may begin to surface. Old pains, unresolved feelings, shadows from the basement of your psyche. Again, this is not a sign that you are doing it wrong. It is a sign that you are doing it right. The temple is cleaning itself out. The light of your awareness is illuminating the dusty corners. Do not panic. Use the tools we have already learned. Greet these visitors. Locate them in your body. Breathe the warmth of your presence into them. You are safe. You are the sky. The fruits of this practice are immeasurable. In the richness of solitude, you begin to hear your own true voice. You start to untangle your own desires from the desires that have been projected onto you by family, friends, and society. Clarity is born. Creativity awakens. When the mind is no longer frantically seeking external input, it has the space to allow new, original ideas to bubble up from the subconscious depths. Most importantly, you cultivate an unshakable self-trust. You learn, in your very bones, that you are your own sanctuary. Your peace is not dependent on another person's presence or approval. This is the root of true inner strength. And from this strength, you can return to the world of relationships, not out of need, but out of love. Your connections become a joyous dance, not a desperate clinging. Solitude, then, is not an escape from life, but a deep and courageous dive into the very heart of it. It is the sacred space where you gather your strength, hear your own wisdom, and remember the magnificent, multidimensional being that you are. And as you become more and more comfortable in this inner temple, as you learn to listen to the silence, you begin to hear even subtler messages, not just from your mind, but from the deep, innate intelligence that animates your entire physical being. In the sacred temple of solitude, once the external noise has faded and the internal chatter has begun to settle, a new voice becomes audible. It is a voice that does not speak in words, but in whispers of sensation. It is a voice that does not argue or rationalize, but simply states its truth with unshakable clarity. It is the ancient, unerringly honest voice of your own body. For most of our modern lives, we have been profoundly disconnected from this source of wisdom. We have been taught to live in our heads, to see ourselves as a thinking mind that happens to be driving a machine called the body. We treat this body like a vehicle. We fuel it, we push it, we demand performance from it, and when it breaks down, we take it for repair. We see it as separate from ourself, an object to be disciplined and controlled. We have forgotten that the body is not an object. It is an aspect of our consciousness, a living, breathing intelligence of immense profundity. In this state of disconnection, we have become deaf to its language. The body communicates constantly, but we have learned to ignore its signals. We power through our exhaustion with stimulants, we numb its aches with pills, we distract ourselves from its discomforts with endless entertainment. We override its subtle messages with the loud shouting of our rational mind. The tragic consequence of this is a deep loss of grounding, a severing from our own intuition. We make life-altering decisions based on complex pro and con lists, on the pressure of external expectations, or on the logic of fear, all the while ignoring the powerful, simple truth being broadcast from our own physical being. It is time to relearn this native language. It is time to honor your body not as a servant, but as a sage. Your mind can be seen as a map. It is a useful tool, filled with roads and pathways laid down by others, your parents, your teachers, your culture. The map shows you all the logical routes, all the shoulds and supposed tos. It can tell you how to get from point A to point B in the most efficient way. But the map cannot tell you if point B is where your soul actually needs to go. Your body, on the other hand, is a living compass. It does not offer you a detailed map, but it always points towards your personal true north. It is incapable of lying. Its needle is the language of physical sensation. Learning to listen to the body is learning to read this compass. The compass works through two primary movements: expansion and contraction. When you think about a choice, a person, a situation, or a path that is in true alignment with your deepest self, with your soul's purpose, you will feel a subtle sense of expansion in your body. It might feel like an opening in your chest, a sense of lightness, a subtle relaxation in your shoulders, a warmth spreading through your solar plexus. It is a physical yes. It feels right, even if the logical mind is terrified. It is the feeling of life force flowing freely. Conversely, when you consider something that is out of alignment with your truth, no matter how good it looks on paper, you will feel a physical contraction. The compass needle is pointing away. It is a knot in the pit of your stomach. It is a tightness in your throat that makes it hard to speak. It is a clamping down in your jaw, a subtle heaviness in your limbs. It might be a feeling of being drained or a sense of dread. This is the body's clear, unequivocal number. It is the feeling of your life force receding, pulling back from a path that is not for you. Your thinking mind is a master of deception. It can rationalize any decision. It can spin elaborate and convincing stories to justify actions that go against your deepest integrity. The mind is deeply influenced by the ego's need for security, by the fear of judgment, by the desire for social approval. But your body has no ego. Your body cannot be bribed by a higher salary or flattered by praise. It has one singular, unwavering loyalty to your aliveness, to your wholeness, to your truth. Its feedback is instantaneous, honest, and incorruptible. Let us learn to listen now. Find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Let us begin by simply learning to read the language without asking any questions yet. Bring your full attention to the soles of your feet. Can you feel the points of contact with the floor or your shoes? Can you feel the texture of your socks? Is there warmth, coolness, tingling, or numbness? Do not judge what you find. Simply notice. You are translating raw data into conscious awareness. Now, slowly, like a warm, gentle wave, let your attention travel up through your ankles, into your lower legs, your knees, your thighs. Just feel. What sensations are present? Is there tightness in your calves? Is there an openness in your knees? Continue this wave of awareness up into your hips, your pelvic area, the base of your spine. This area often holds a great deal of tension. Just notice it with kindness. Let the wave flow up into your abdomen, your stomach. Is it soft and relaxed, or tight and knotted? Feel it move into your chest, the home of your heart. Is there a sense of openness here, or a feeling of being guarded, of being armored? Let the awareness flow down your arms, into your hands, to the very tips of your fingers. Are your hands relaxed or clenched, warm or cold? Then, bring the awareness up through your throat, your jaw, your face, your forehead, and finally to the very crown of your head. You have now created a complete sensory map of your body in this moment. This is the baseline reading of your compass. Now, let's put the compass into action. Think of a small decision you are currently facing. It could be as simple as whether to attend a social event this weekend or how to approach a necessary conversation. First, hold one option clearly in your mind. Let's say the option is to attend the event. See yourself there. Now, immediately drop your attention out of your head and into your body. Do a quick scan. What is the instantaneous, unfiltered, visceral response? Before your mind has a chance to argue, what is the body's vote? Is there a subtle opening, a flicker of excitement, a feeling of lightness? Or is there a subtle closing, a clenching in your gut, a feeling of heaviness, a sigh of resignation? Be ruthlessly honest with what you feel, not with what you think you should feel. Now, let that option go completely. Imagine wiping a slate clean. Take a neutral breath. Then, hold the second option in your mind. Imagine deciding to stay home, to rest, to honor your need for quiet. See yourself doing that. And again, immediately drop your attention into the body. What does the compass do now? Is there a profound sense of relief, a wave of relaxation, a feeling of expansion? Or is there a pang of regret, a feeling of missing out, a slight contraction? The first, pre-rational physical response is your truth. We have the words for this wisdom embedded in our language. Follow your gut. Listen to your heart. I have a bad feeling about this. My body is telling me no. These are not just quaint metaphors. They are literal descriptions of the body's compass at work. We have been speaking this truth all along. We have just forgotten how to listen to its reality. This practice is not an excuse to avoid responsibility or to indulge in hedonism. The body's yes does not always point to the easiest path. It might point towards having that difficult but necessary conversation, or quitting the secure but soul-crushing job. The path of your truth might feel scary to the mind, but underneath the fear, it will feel light, it will feel right, it will feel like an expansion into a truer version of yourself. And the body's no often requires immense courage to heed. It might ask you to walk away from something that the entire world tells you that you should want. Trusting this subtle, non-rational, physical wisdom over the loud shouting of the world is a profound act of self-love. As you practice listening, you move from treating your body as a machine to honoring it as a living oracle. You are building a bridge of trust between your conscious mind and the immense ancient intelligence that resides within every one of your trillions of cells. This intelligence does not just communicate through the simple yes or no of the compass. It has a baseline state, a resonant frequency, a signature hum. You are learning to feel not just the direction of your life force, but its very quality. You are learning to feel the pure, unmistakable vibration of your own being. We have learned to listen to the body as a compass, guiding us toward our truth. We have honored it as a wise sage. Now, we are ready to go deeper still. We move from listening to the body's messages to feeling its very essence. What is this aliveness that the compass is trying to protect? What is this life force that expands with a yes and contracts with a no? To understand this, we must be willing to gently set aside our conventional view of ourselves as solid objects. We are entering the realm of energy, of frequency, of pure vibration. The ancient mystics and the pioneers of quantum physics, after traveling vastly different paths, have arrived at the same astonishing conclusion. At its most fundamental level, nothing is solid. The chair you are sitting on, the walls of the room around you, the earth beneath your feet, and your own physical body, it is all a dance of energy. A shimmering, vibrating field of infinitesimally small particles and waves coalescing into what our limited senses perceive as solid matter. This is not a philosophical theory. It is the bedrock of our modern understanding of the universe. Now, apply this truth to yourself. Before you are a name, a profession, a personality, or a collection of memories, you are a field of conscious energy, a vibration, a unique frequency in the grand, silent symphony of the cosmos. Your most essential self is not your story. Your most essential self is a resonant field of pure being. Let us use a metaphor. Imagine your true essential self as a perfectly crafted crystal tuning fork. By its very nature, it is designed to resonate at a specific, clear, harmonious frequency. This is your soul's signature note. It is the frequency of love, of peace, of joy, of wholeness. When it is undisturbed, this is its natural state. It hums with a silent, beautiful music. Throughout your life, however, this pristine tuning fork is constantly being struck by external and internal events. A harsh word from a loved one strikes it, and for a moment it vibrates with the chaotic, jarring frequency of hurt. A fearful thought about the future strikes it, and it buzzes with the discordant, frantic frequency of anxiety. An old memory of shame or failure strikes it, and it hums with the low, heavy, dense frequency of guilt. Each of these states, anger, fear, sadness, jealousy, has its own unique vibrational signature, and all of them are discordant. They are a departure from your natural, harmonious note. Here, we have made a critical and lifelong error. We have mistaken the temporary, jarring vibration for the tuning fork itself. When the fork is buzzing with anxiety, we have said, "I am anxious." We collapse our entire identity into that momentary, discordant state. We believe the dissonance is who we are. We completely forget the silent, perfectly tuned, ever-present instrument that lies beneath the noise, the instrument whose nature is harmony. The beautiful, liberating truth is this: you do not have to force the tuning fork back to its original frequency. Its very nature is to return to harmony. All you have to do is stop striking it. When you cease feeding the fearful thought, when you stop replaying the painful memory, when you meet the discordant vibration with the silent, allowing space of your awareness, the same vast sky, we have already discovered the chaotic vibrations naturally, effortlessly subside, and the clear, pure, silent music of your own being begins to sound again. Let us feel this directly, moving it from a concept into a lived experience. I invite you to close your eyes. Let go of the image of your body as a solid, dense shape with firm boundaries. Instead, bring your attention to the inside of your body. Can you feel the subtle sense of aliveness pulsating within your hands? You do not have to imagine it or create it. It is already there. Simply feel. Is there a gentle tingling, a subtle warmth, a quiet buzzing? This sensation is the feeling of your energy field. It is the direct perception of your own vibration. Now, see if you can feel this same aliveness in the soles of your feet. Let your awareness rest there until you can perceive that subtle tingling. Then, allow your awareness to expand, to feel this energy field filling your entire body. Feel your legs, your torso, your arms, your neck and your head, not as flesh and bone, but as a single, unified field of gentle, vibrating energy. Feel yourself, from the inside out, as a luminous, tingling cloud of life. This is the feeling of pure being. This is the raw sensation of your presence. This is the fundamental I am, before any other label. I am a man, I am a woman, I am a parent, I am a failure, I am a success added onto it. Just rest in this feeling for a moment. What is the quality of your energy field right now? Does it feel dense and heavy, or light and spacious? Does it feel agitated and frantic, or calm and settled? Does it feel contracted and tight, or open and flowing? Do not judge what you find. You are simply becoming aware of the signature note you are broadcasting in this moment. This awareness is the key to everything, because the universe operates on the fundamental law of resonance. Like attracts like. When your being is consistently vibrating at the low, contracted frequency of lack, scarcity, and fear, you will perceive and attract situations, people, and experiences that are a perfect match for that frequency. Your outer world will seem to prove that your inner state is justified. This is not a punishment, it is simply the law of physics. A radio tuned to 98.7 FM cannot receive the broadcast from 103.5 FM. When you learn, through awareness, to stop striking your tuning fork with negativity, and you allow it to return to its natural high, expansive frequency of peace, gratitude, and wholeness, your entire reality begins to shift. You do not have to chase after positive experiences. You become a resonant magnet for them. People will be kinder to you. Opportunities will appear. Solutions will present themselves. The world has not changed. Your point of attraction has changed. You have changed at the most fundamental level. The modern colloquialism of good vibes is a profoundly accurate spiritual truth. Your vibe, your state of being, your resonant frequency is the most powerful creative force you possess. It is the signal you are constantly and unavoidably broadcasting to the universe. So how do you tune yourself? The most important thing to remember is that it is not about adding anything. You are already perfectly tuned. The work is about removing the interference. The primary tool is the one we have been cultivating all along: non-judgmental awareness. Each time you notice a fearful thought and choose not to believe it, you have stopped striking the fork. Each time you feel a wave of anger and allow it to pass through the sky of your being without identifying with it, you have stopped striking the fork. Other practices can help you return to your natural harmony more quickly. Spend time in nature. The resonant frequency of the earth has a powerfully calming and tuning effect on the human energy field. Practice gratitude. The feeling of genuine appreciation is one of the highest frequencies you can embody. Practice compassion. Directing feelings of love and kindness towards yourself and others instantly raises your vibration. You are not a solid object navigating a cold, material world. You are a field of conscious energy, a unique and beautiful vibration in the living symphony of existence. Your primary work in this life is not to strive and struggle and achieve. It is to return to your natural state of harmony, to allow your true note to sound clearly and powerfully. But to truly do this, to truly stop striking the tuning fork with the hammers of worry, control, and fear, we must learn the most subtle and powerful art of all, the art of surrender, the profound grace of letting go. We have felt ourselves as a field of energy, a tuning fork that naturally resonates with the frequency of peace and wholeness. We have come to understand that the discord we experience, the anxiety, the fear, the struggle is the result of repeatedly striking this fork with the hammers of worry, control, and resistance. The vital question then becomes, how do we stop? How do we lay down these heavy hammers and cease the endless, exhausting effort? The answer lies in one of the most misunderstood and therefore most powerful concepts in all of spiritual practice: the art of surrender. The word surrender often triggers an alarm in the modern mind. Our culture worships effort, struggle, grit, and control. We are taught from birth to fight for what we want, to bend reality to our will, to never give up. To this heroic, egoic mindset, the idea of surrender sounds like weakness. It smells of passivity, of apathy, of defeat. The ego equates surrender with losing, and because the ego's primary function is to control, surrender is its greatest fear. But true surrender is not weakness. It is an act of profound strength, transcendent courage, and supreme wisdom. It is not giving up, it is giving over. It is the conscious and intelligent alignment of your small personal will with the vast, universal will of life itself. It is the release of anxious, frantic, egoic control in favor of a deep and abiding trust in the benevolent intelligence of the cosmos. Let us use our guiding metaphor. Imagine your life is a great, powerful, and intelligent river. This river is life itself, the Tao, the flow of the universe. It has its own wisdom, its own immense power, and its own clear direction. It is always flowing towards its ultimate and inevitable destination, the vast, boundless ocean of wholeness, peace, and union with the source. Now, picture yourself in a small boat on this river. From a very young age, you were handed a pair of heavy wooden oars and told that your primary job is to control the boat's journey. More than that, you were given a map drawn by your parents, your teachers, and your society, a map that confidently declares that the great ocean lies upstream. And so, for your entire life, with noble intention and immense effort, you have been rowing with all your might against the powerful, inexorable current of the river. This is the state of the unawakened human. Feel it in your body, this struggle, the strained muscles in your back and shoulders, the gritted teeth, the sweat of constant effort. You are focused on a single point on the opposite bank, fighting the current with every ounce of your energy. You measure your progress in inches, celebrating small, temporary victories against the immense power of the river, only to find yourself exhausted and swept back the moment you pause. Your life is a state of constant, low-grade anxiety, a perpetual vigilance against a river you have labeled as your adversary. You believe that if you were to stop rowing for even a single moment, you would be lost, dashed upon the rocks, a failure. This exhausting upstream battle is what we have been taught to call living a normal, responsible life. It is the very source of our burnout, our anxiety, and our deep soul weariness. Surrender is the moment of grace. It is the turning point in the human journey. It is the moment when, perhaps out of sheer bone-deep exhaustion, or perhaps from a sudden flash of profound insight, you stop. You simply stop fighting. With a sigh that comes from the depths of your being, you consciously and deliberately let go of the oars. You pull them out of the churning water and lay them down in the bottom of your boat. The first second is terrifying. The boat, freed from your frantic control, begins to turn. It starts to drift, carried by the current. It is moving backwards, in the wrong direction, according to your old, inherited map. The ego screams in panic. You're giving up, we'll be lost. This is irresponsible. You'll be dashed on the rocks. This is the threshold of fear that every seeker must cross. But if you can breathe through that initial wave of panic, if you can just stay with the experience for a moment longer, something miraculous begins to happen. You notice that the boat is not crashing. You notice, in fact, that it seems to be navigating the currents with a nimble, intuitive grace you could never have managed with your clumsy, forceful oars. It glides around a submerged rock here. It catches a swift channel there. You lift your head, no longer staring at your straining hands and the churning water, and for the very first time, you see the breathtaking beauty of the riverbanks. You see the ancient trees, the soaring eagles. You feel the warmth of the sun on your face, a warmth you were too busy and stressed to notice before. You hear the singing of the birds, and in a moment of stunning, world-altering clarity, you realize, the river was never my enemy. The river was always trying to carry me home. Now, this does not mean that you become a listless, passive passenger for the rest of your life. Surrender is not apathy. You still have a role to play. You still have a paddle in your hands. But now, your relationship with the paddle has changed entirely. Instead of using it as a weapon to fight the river, you use it as a tool to dance with the river. You use it to make subtle adjustments. You push off from the bank here. You steer gently around a floating log there. You guide your boat towards a particularly beautiful waterfall you wish to see up close. This is the crucial difference between egoic, effortful struggle and conscious, inspired action. How do you know the difference? You listen to your compass, your body. When you are contemplating an action and it feels like a heavy, draining, upstream battle that is egoic struggle, your body will feel contracted, tight, and weary at the mere thought of it. But when an action feels light, joyful, and harmonious, even if it is challenging, that is inspired action, it is a paddle stroke in alignment with the current. Your body will feel open, energized, and expanded. You are no longer fighting the flow, you are co-creating with it. We practice this art by surrendering to the reality of the present moment. So much of our struggle is a futile argument with what is. It is raining, and our mind is arguing that it should be sunny. We are stuck in traffic, and our mind is screaming that we should be moving. Someone acted in a way we did not like, and we replay it endlessly, arguing with a past that cannot be changed. This is like trying to row against the fact of the river itself. It is a form of insanity. Surrender is saying a simple, unconditional yes to the reality of this moment. Acceptance does not mean you approve of it or that you won't take inspired action to change circumstances in the next moment. It simply means you stop wasting your precious life force on a pointless war with what is already true. You surrender to your emotions, as we have learned, allowing them to flow through you without resistance. You surrender to the not knowing of the future. The ego desperately wants a guarantee, a detailed map of the entire river all the way to the ocean. Surrender is trusting that the river knows the way, even when you can't see around the next bend. It is embracing uncertainty not as a threat, but as an essential element of a magnificent adventure. Letting go of the oars is the ultimate act of faith, not faith in a specific belief system or doctrine, but a deep, embodied faith in the process of life itself. It is the profound discovery that you are not separate from the river. You are the river, expressing itself for a time as the boat and the rower. As you learn to float, to trust, to dance with the current, a new quality of being emerges. You begin to notice the moments of perfect balance, the exquisite stillness that exists right in the heart of the flow. You discover the supreme power that lies not in frantic action, not in stubborn resistance, but in the sacred, creative stillness of the pause. When we let go of the oars, when we cease our frantic, upstream struggle and surrender to the intelligent flow of the river, we find ourselves not in chaos, but in a state of dynamic stillness. We are floating with the current, alive and aware. And in this newfound state of graceful movement, we discover the existence of a profound secret, a hidden dimension in our experience that holds the key to all freedom and all creation. This dimension is the sacred pause. Between the stimulus of the world and your response to it, there is a space. Between a sound that you hear and your interpretation of it, there is a space. Between a thought that arises in your mind and your identification with that thought, there is a space. In that space, in that silent, infinitesimal pause, lies your entire freedom, your power, your ability to choose, your capacity to grow. Almost the entirety of human suffering and unconscious behavior occurs because we are utterly unaware that this space exists. We live a life of immediate, conditioned reaction. A stimulus occurs, a neural pathway forged in our childhood is triggered, and a predictable reaction erupts, all in a fraction of a second. We live like complex biological machines, puppets pulled by the invisible strings of our past conditioning. This is the unawakened life. The conscious life, the free life, begins the moment you discover your power to insert a pause between stimulus and response. Let us imagine your life, your mind, and your emotions as a grand pendulum in a magnificent, silent hall. It swings from joy to sorrow, from excitement to boredom, from peace to agitation. This is the natural rhythm of life, the unavoidable dance of opposites. We have been taught to focus entirely on the swinging, on the drama of the back and forth. We cling to the upward swing of happiness, and we resist the downward swing of sadness. And this clinging and resisting is the source of our struggle. But I invite you now to observe the pendulum with the eye of a mystic. At the very peak of its swing, in either direction, just before it begins its return journey, there is a fractional moment of perfect, absolute stillness, a point of zero motion, a moment of pure potentiality. In this exquisite still point, all the kinetic energy of the swing has been transformed into potential energy. It is the quiet, invisible fulcrum upon which all movement turns. Your life is filled with these still points, but in our haste, we have missed them entirely. We have been so captivated by the noise of the swinging that we have been deaf to the powerful silence at its source. The sacred pause is this still point. It is the moment of pure presence you can learn to inhabit. This may sound abstract, but it is the most practical skill you can ever cultivate. Where do we find this pause in our daily lives? We find it everywhere, once we know to look for it. We find it in our communication. Someone says something that triggers you, a criticism, a disagreement, an accusation. The conditioned, unconscious reaction is to immediately fire back, to defend your position, to attack theirs, or to shut down and withdraw. Your nervous system is hijacked. But what if, before a single word leaves your lips, you consciously introduce the pause? You feel the energetic spark of the trigger, the heat rising, the clenching in your gut. And right there, you stop. You take one single conscious breath. You feel your feet on the floor. In that 2-second space, you have performed a miracle. You have gone from being a reactive puppet to a conscious observer. You have created a space between their stimulus and your response. From this clear space, you can choose your words with wisdom, not with woundedness. You can choose to respond rather than react. We find it in our actions. You receive a stressful email, its subject line written in bold, urgent letters. The conditioned response is to feel a surge of cortisol, to have your peace shattered, to type a frantic reply in order to resolve the tension as quickly as possible. Instead, you introduce the sacred pause. You see the email, you acknowledge the feeling of stress in your body, and you choose to pause. You do not open it immediately, or if you do, you read it, and then you deliberately push your chair back, stand up, and walk to a window. You take 3 conscious breaths, watching a real cloud drift by in the real sky. You have refused to let the external world dictate your internal state. You return to the email 5 minutes later, from a place of centeredness, not panic. Your reply will be infinitely more intelligent and effective. We find it between our thoughts. As you sit in quiet meditation, or even just in a moment of stillness during your day, you watch the stream of thoughts passing through your mind, and then, for a brief flicker, there is a gap, a tiny moment of silence between the end of one thought and the beginning of the next. This is the pause. The unconscious habit is to immediately grasp onto the next thought, to fill the silence as quickly as possible. The conscious practice is to learn to rest in that gap. You can discover that the silence is not empty. It is vibrant with pure awareness. You can find that your true home is not in the noisy thoughts, but in the peaceful silence that contains them. This discovery of the pause is the great turning point of our inner journey. It is here that all the healing we have been doing becomes fully integrated and truly functional in our lives. The sacred pause is the space where you actively apply the wisdom you have gained. It is the moment where you remember that you are the sky, and you choose not to become the passing cloud of emotion. It is the moment where you feel the compass of your body pointing no, and you honor it. It is the moment where you feel the urge to pick up the oars and row against the current, and you consciously choose to let them rest. But it is more than just a space for healing. It is the very beginning of true awakening and conscious creation. The pause is not an empty void. It is a space of infinite potentiality. It is the silent, fertile ground from which all intentional action arises. In the unconscious life, your past completely determines your future. A stimulus from the past triggers a conditioned program from the past, creating a predictable result in the future. It is a closed loop, but when you introduce the pause, you sever that causal chain. You step out of the timeline of cause and effect. You stand in a timeless, creative, present moment. From this space, you are no longer destined to merely repeat the patterns of your history. From this sacred still point, you can create a new future. This is the point where our entire journey pivots. We have journeyed deep into the silence in order to heal. We have cleaned out the dusty, cluttered corners of the temple. Now, standing firmly in the quiet sanctuary of the sacred pause, we discover that this silence is not an end in itself. It was the necessary preparation. It is the quiet, fertile womb from which a new power can be born. The power of the intentional, conscious word. We have walked a profound path together so far. We have witnessed the cacophony of the unobserved mind and found our anchor in the breath. We have realized our true nature as the sky, not the clouds. We have learned to melt the frozen ice of past pain with the gentle warmth of our own presence. We have begun to explore the vast and wild geography of our inner world, learning to embrace solitude as a friend and to listen to the unerring wisdom of the body. We have learned the profound grace of surrender, of letting go of the oars and trusting the flow. All of this has led us here, to this single potent point of power, the sacred pause. Here, at the still point of the turning world, our journey of healing finds its culmination, and our journey of conscious creation begins. The silence has cleansed the temple. It has prepared the soil. It has made the space holy. Now, what seeds shall we plant into this potent stillness? What words of power shall we speak? What reality shall we begin to architect? The foundation has been laid. It is time to build. We stand now in the sacred pause. We have arrived at the silent, fertile still point of the turning world. For the first half of our journey, we have learned to be receptive, to heal, to listen, to surrender. We have cleansed the temple. Now, the nature of our work shifts. From this hallowed ground of pure potentiality, we move from healing to creating, from listening to speaking, from being the canvas to being the artist. And the first, most powerful brushstroke we will ever make, the first sound we will issue forth from the stillness, is the primal, creative word. It is the name of God. It is the name of your own true, eternal self. It is the two most powerful words in the universe. I am. These two words are unlike any others you will ever speak. They are not merely descriptive. They are creative. They are causative. They are a command. To understand their immense power, we must look to the heart of the great spiritual traditions and to the core of our own being. In the ancient scriptures, when the prophet Moses stands before the burning bush, the presence of the divine, he asks for its name. The voice that answers from the heart of the fire does not give a name like a human would. It does not say, I am Yahweh, or I am Jehovah. It says, I am that I am. This is one of the most profound statements ever uttered. The mystics understood that God is not a noun, but a verb. God is not a being that exists in a particular place, but the very state of being itself. The name of the ultimate reality is the pure, unadorned assertion of existence. I am. The great sages of the East came to the same realization. They declared, Atman is Brahman. The individual soul is one with the universal consciousness. The spark of divinity that animates you, the very sense of I-ness that is aware of these words, is not separate from the creative power that animates the entire cosmos. It is a localized expression of it. Therefore, when you speak the words, I am, you are not just speaking about your limited, personal self. You are invoking the name of the creative power within you. You are consciously aligning yourself with the God force, the source of all that is. You are claiming your divine birthright as a co-creator of your reality. Let us bring this down from the metaphysical into the practical. Think of the universe, the quantum field, as a vast, infinitely intelligent, and perfectly responsive creative substance. It is like a formless, living clay, waiting for a command, for a shape to be impressed upon it. The words, "I am," are the royal seal of the Creator. They are your divine signature. Whatever words, whatever concepts, whatever states of being you affix this seal to, the universal substance takes it as a divine command. It has no choice but to begin arranging itself to reflect the truth of your decree. It does not argue. It does not judge whether you deserve it or not. It simply, obediently reflects your I amness back to you as the experience of your life. This is why these are the two most powerful and potentially most dangerous words you can ever utter. For your entire life, you have been using this divine power unconsciously. Every time you have casually said, "Oh, I am so tired," you have taken the royal seal of God, I am, and you have stamped the reality of tiredness into the clay of your life. The universe, your faithful servant, then arranges circumstances to ensure you feel more tired. It presents you with draining tasks, restless nights, and weary people. Every time you have joked, "I am so broke," you have issued a royal decree for lack. You have commanded the universe to hide opportunities from your sight, to bring unexpected bills, to ensure that your experience matches your declaration. When you have looked in the mirror and thought, "I am unattractive," or "I am unworthy of love," you have commanded your reality to reflect that truth back to you. You have been casting powerful spells without even knowing it. The journey of awakening is the process of reclaiming this power and learning to use it consciously, deliberately, and lovingly. This is not just a metaphysical law, it is also a profound psychological one. Your subconscious mind is your personal connection to the universal creative substance. It is the fertile soil in which the seeds of your reality are planted. Your conscious mind is the gardener. The subconscious mind does not reason, it does not argue, it does not distinguish between what is real in the outer world and what is vividly imagined in the inner world. It accepts as truth whatever the conscious mind impresses upon it with feeling and repetition. The statement, "I am," is the most direct and potent way to impress a new truth upon the fertile soil of your subconscious. It bypasses the analytical gatekeeper of your conscious mind, which might argue and doubt, and it speaks directly to the creative powerhouse within. Furthermore, this process engages a part of your brain known as the reticular activating system, or RAS. The RAS is the brain's filtering mechanism. It is like a personal assistant that highlights whatever you have told it is important and makes everything else invisible. When you begin to consciously and repeatedly declare, "I am healthy and vibrant," you are programming your RAS to look for evidence of health. You start noticing healthy foods. You feel a new urge to go for a walk. You filter out advertisements for junk food and start seeing articles about well-being. The world has not changed, but what your brain allows you to perceive has been radically altered by your command. Conversely, if you persist in the declaration, "I am always sick," your RAS will diligently search for every ache and pain. It will interpret every sneeze as a sign of impending illness, and it will make you blind to the vitality that is your birthright. This understanding marks the great shift from the consciousness of a victim to the consciousness of a creator. The language of the victim is descriptive. It says, "I have a problem. I feel sad. I lack money." This language describes a state as if it were an external fact, something that is happening to you. It reinforces the belief that you are a passive recipient of circumstances. The language of the Creator is declarative. It does not describe current reality. It commands a new reality into being. It does not say, "I have a problem." It declares, From the sacred pause, I am the solution. It does not say, I feel sad. It declares, I am joy. It does not say, I lack money. It stands tall and decrees, I am abundance. I am prosperity. I am the source of my own supply. Do you feel the monumental shift in power? You are no longer describing the weather, you are commanding the sky. So, how do we practice this art? The formulation of your I am statements is crucial. First, they must always be in the present tense. Never say, I will be happy or I will be prosperous. The subconscious mind only knows the eternal now. To declare that your good is in the future is to command it to always remain in the future, just beyond your grasp. You must claim your desired state as a present tense reality. I am happy. I am prosperous. I am love. You are not lying. You are speaking a higher truth, the truth of your essential nature, and commanding the material world to catch up. Second, your statements must be framed in the positive. The subconscious does not process negatives effectively. If you say, I am not sick, the dominant word your subconscious hears is sick. Instead, you must declare what you desire to be. I am perfectly healthy and radiantly alive. Do not say, I am not afraid. Declare, I am courageous and confident. Third, and perhaps most importantly, your declaration must be infused with feeling. The words are the blueprint, but the feeling is the electrical current that makes it manifest. A rote, mechanical repetition of, I am wealthy, will have little effect if your inner feeling is one of lack. You must find a way to generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Before you speak the words, take a moment. What would it feel like to be absolutely secure and prosperous? It would feel like relief. It would feel like freedom. It would feel like generosity. Then make those feelings your affirmation. I am the feeling of relief. I am freedom. I am generosity. Feel that in your body. Let the warmth of it spread through you. Then, from that feeling state, the words, I am wealthy, become a powerful confirmation of the inner reality you have already generated. Naturally, the egoic mind will rebel. You will declare, I am prosperous, and it will immediately shout, no, you're not. Look at your bank account. You're lying to yourself. This is its job. It is the guardian of your current, limited reality. Do not argue with it. Simply acknowledge it as a cloud passing in the sky and gently return to your declaration. You are not describing your bank account. You are declaring your true nature in the unseen quantum field from which all bank accounts are born. You are identifying with the cause, not the temporary effect. To make this practice your own, become a guardian at the gates of your mind and your mouth. For the rest of today, simply notice how you use the words, I am. Notice how many times you unconsciously declare negative states over yourself. I am so tired. I am so clumsy. I am just not good with names. Each time you catch one of these unconscious, negative decrees, I want you to perform a simple, powerful ritual. Silently or aloud, say, cancel, clear. You are canceling the order you just placed with the universe. Then, consciously and deliberately, replace it with a declaration of the truth you choose. I am clumsy becomes cancel, clear. I am graceful and coordinated. I am so tired becomes cancel, clear. I am filled with boundless energy and vitality. As you become more adept at this, you can graduate from specific affirmations to the ultimate affirmation itself. To simply sit in the sacred pause, close your eyes, and feel the truth of the pure statement, I am, without adding anything after it, is one of the highest forms of meditation. It is to rest in the pure, unconditioned awareness of your own existence. It is to feel your own divinity directly. When you can rest in the state of pure I am, you become a master creator, for your desired reality begins to arrange itself around your powerful, silent state of being, without you even needing to ask. You now hold the master key of creation, the royal seal of your own divinity. You understand that you are not here to be a passive observer of reality, but its conscious architect. With this power, you are ready to move beyond simply exploring your inner world. You are ready to pick up the drafting tools and design the blueprint for the magnificent life you were born to live. With the royal seal of I Am, you have claimed your authority as a conscious creator. You have understood that these words are not a passive description of your state, but an active decree that shapes it. Now, we must take this incredible power and apply it with vision, with discipline, and with artistry. It is time to move from simply making decrees to drafting the grand design. It is time to fully and unflinchingly embrace your role as the architect of your reality. For most of your life, and for most of humanity's history, we have lived under the spell of a great and tragic illusion, the illusion of victimhood. We see life as something that happens to us. We look at the circumstances of our lives, our financial situation, our relationships, our health, our level of happiness, and we construct elaborate stories to explain why they are not our fault. We blame our parents for our emotional wounds. We blame the economy for our lack. We blame our partners for our unhappiness. We blame the system, the government, the weather, bad luck. This narrative of blame feels strangely comforting to the ego. It absolves us of responsibility. If my unhappiness is not my fault, then I don't have to do the difficult inner work of changing. I can remain in the comfortable misery of my story, waiting for the world to change, waiting for an external savior. But this comfort is a cage. It is a self-imposed prison. As long as you believe that someone or something else is responsible for your experience of life, you have handed them all of your power. You have made yourself a powerless effect, subject to the whims of external causes. You are a ship adrift, blaming the wind and the waves, having completely forgotten that you are, in fact, the captain. The most empowering, and for the ego, the most terrifying realization on the spiritual path is this: you are 100% responsible for your experience of life. Let us be very clear about what this means. This does not mean you are to blame for everything that has happened to you. It does not mean you were responsible for the abuse you may have suffered as a child or for the actions of others. But you are, from this moment forward, completely responsible for your response to everything. You are responsible for the meaning you assign to the events of your past. You are responsible for the story you choose to tell about it. And you are absolutely, unequivocally responsible for the reality you are creating with your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions right now. Blame is the abdication of power. Responsibility is the reclamation of it. The moment you stop pointing your finger outward and instead turn your gaze inward, you feel a monumental shift. The moment you can look at a difficult situation in your life and say, with honesty and without self-pity, I am responsible for this experience, you simultaneously declare, and therefore, I have the power to change it. The victim says, why is this happening to me? The creator asks, what am I learning from this, and what do I choose to create instead? To embody this, let us use our next great metaphor. Your mind is a drafting table, and your consciousness is the architect. Every moment of your life, you are drawing the blueprint for your reality. Your repetitive thoughts, your deepest held beliefs, and your core assumptions are the lines, the walls, and the foundations you are sketching. The universe, like a master builder with infinite resources, simply looks at your blueprint and builds it for you, perfectly, without question. The problem is that for most of your life, you have been an unconscious architect. You have been drawing this blueprint in your sleep, with your hand guided by the trembling fingers of fear, doubt, and past conditioning. Let's look at this old blueprint, the one that has created the life you have been experiencing. The foundation is cracked with the unhealed traumas of your past. The walls are built with the heavy bricks of limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. Life is a struggle. You can't trust anyone. There's never enough money. The windows are small and barred, letting in only a sliver of light, because you have been drawing from the assumption that the world is a dangerous and scarce place. The layout is cramped and confusing, a maze of defensive corridors and hidden rooms filled with shame. Is it any wonder that the house you have been living in often feels like a prison? You designed it this way. The Great Awakening is the moment the architect wakes up at the drafting table. It is the moment you look down and realize, with a jolt that shakes your entire being, that you are the one holding the pen. And with that realization comes the most liberating news in the universe. You can set the old, tattered blueprint on fire. You can sweep the scraps from the table. You can take out a fresh, clean, infinite sheet of paper. And you can consciously, deliberately, joyfully begin to design the palace you were born to inhabit. This is not a passive daydream. It is an active, focused, creative process. The first step for any great architect is vision. You must know what you want to build. So I ask you, from the quiet of your sacred pause, what do you truly, deeply desire to experience? I am not asking about the specific furniture, like a red car or a specific title at work. I am asking about the architecture of the soul. What is the feeling state you wish to inhabit? Is it boundless freedom? Is it profound, unshakable peace? Is it radiant health and vitality? Is it deep, authentic, loving connection? Is it abundant, joyful creativity? Get clear on the core feeling. Choose one or two to begin. Let's say you choose peace. Now, you begin to draw. The structural supports of your new reality are your beliefs. The old blueprint was built on beliefs that generated anxiety. Your new blueprint for a palace of peace must be built on new beliefs. You take the pen of your conscious mind and you write these new specifications clearly. The foundation of my reality is peace. I am inherently peaceful. The universe supports my peace. I respond to all situations from a center of calm wisdom. Every thought you think from this moment on is a line you are drawing on this new blueprint. This requires vigilance. As you go through your day, you will notice the old habits of the unconscious architect trying to take over the pen. A thought of worry appears. This is a line from the old blueprint trying to draw a prison bar on a window. You must catch it. Cancel. Clear, you say. And then you consciously draw a new line from the new blueprint. I trust in the perfect unfolding of my life. All is well. A thought of anger towards another person arises. This is the old architect trying to build a defensive wall. You catch it. You consciously replace it with a line from the Palace of Peace. I see the divine in all people. I send them peace. You must become a master guardian of your thoughts, ensuring every stroke of the pen is in service of your grand design. Your most powerful drafting tool is your imagination. Imagination is the architect's holodeck, the virtual reality suite where you can see and feel the finished building in vivid detail before a single physical brick is laid. This is crucial. Spend time each day, 5, 10, 15 minutes inhabiting your new reality. Close your eyes and walk through the halls of your finished palace. If your palace is one of abundance, feel the cool, solid marble of financial security under your feet. See the sunlight of opportunities streaming through vast, open windows. Feel the rich textures of a life where all needs are met with grace and ease. Smell the scent of success. Hear the sounds of joyful, generous commerce. Your vivid, sensory imagination, when infused with the feeling of the wish already fulfilled, is the force that impresses the blueprint upon the subconscious mind and the universal substance most powerfully. You do not wait for the palace to be built to feel like royalty. You assume the feeling state of the ruler of that palace now, and the palace must then assemble itself around you. The blueprints are in your hands. The pen of your focused attention is in your grasp. The creative power of the universe, your master builder, awaits your clear command. There are no more excuses. There is no one else to blame and no one else to wait for. You are the architect. The responsibility is immense, but the power that comes with it is infinite. Stop bemoaning the leaky roof and the cracked walls of your old prison. Let it fade into the past. Pick up your pen with the authority of the creator that you are, and begin today to draw the blueprint of your palace. With this clear, beautiful, and intentional design held firmly in your mind's eye, the next step is to give it voice. It is time to move from the silent inner architecture to the first great act of outer creation, the spoken, resonant word. You have now become the conscious architect. The blueprint for your new reality is held clearly and lovingly in the temple of your mind. It is vibrant with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, luminous with the vision of your highest potential. But a blueprint, no matter how beautiful or divinely inspired, remains a silent potential until the builders are given the command to begin. The first command, the first great act of translating the energetic blueprint from the unseen realm of mind into the seen realm of physical reality, is the spoken word. From the beginning of time, across all cultures, humanity has held an intuitive understanding of the creative power of sound. The ancient Vedic texts declare that the universe was born from the primordial sound, Om. The Gospel of John begins with the iconic phrase, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." This is not merely poetry or metaphor. This is a description of cosmic physics. At its most fundamental level, reality is vibration. Sound is the organizing force of vibration. This can be demonstrated physically through the science of cymatics, where sound vibrations are passed through a medium like sand on a plate, spontaneously organizing the chaotic grains into exquisite, complex, geometric pattern. If a simple sound frequency can bring order and beauty to inanimate matter, imagine the power of your own voicer, sound infused with conscious intention, with deep feeling, and with the divine authority of I am. And your words are not just fleeting puffs of air that disappear into nothingness. They are vibrational packets of information. They are instructions. They are energetic seeds that you are constantly planting into the fertile soil of the universe. Let us explore this metaphor of the gardener. The quantum field, the universal substance, your own subconscious mind. This is the infinitely fertile, non-judgmental soil. It has no preference. It will grow whatever seed you plant within it, with perfect fidelity. Your words, both thought and spoken, are the seeds. Each word, each phrase, carries a specific genetic code, a specific potential reality. For most of your life, you have been an unconscious and careless gardener. You have walked through the magnificent field of your life, casually and thoughtlessly scattering seeds of worry, gossip, self-criticism, and complaint. With every "I can't do this," you planted a seed of failure. With every "it's so hard," you planted a seed of struggle. With every "nothing ever works out for me," you planted a seed of disappointment. And then, you have stood in shocked and frustrated amazement at the thorny, bitter harvest of your life, wondering how it came to be, blaming the soil, the weather, or a lack of rain. You have failed to see that the harvest is a perfect, unerring reflection of the seeds you have been planting all along. The moment of awakening is the moment the gardener wakes up. You look at your hands and you see they are full of seeds. You look at your field and you see the connection between what you have planted and what has grown. And from that moment on, everything changes. You stop wasting your energy trying to pull up the millions of weeds that have already grown. Instead, You focus all your energy on consciously choosing and planting the seeds of the garden you do wish to cultivate. You no longer speak of the weeds you see. You speak of the roses you wish to grow. You speak of health, of abundance, of love, of peace. You are planting a new garden. This is the art and science of the affirmation. A true affirmation is not a dead, mechanical repetition born of desperation. It is not about begging the universe to give you something you lack. It is a living declaration, a powerful statement of fact spoken from a place of authority. It is an announcement of a truth that already exists in the unseen realm, and you are simply calling it forth into visibility. A powerful, effective affirmation has three essential ingredients. The first is clarity of intent. This is the blueprint you have already designed. You must know, with precision, what you are choosing to create. The second, as we have learned, is emotional energy. The feeling is the water and the sunlight for your seed. Before you speak, you must generate the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Close your eyes and feel the deep peace you desire. Feel the joyful freedom of abundance. Feel the warmth of unconditional love. The emotion is what magnetizes the energy field. The third and final ingredient is the spoken word itself. The physical act of vocalization, of creating a sound vibration, is what anchors your intention in the physical realm. It is the act of dropping the seed into the soil. It sends a resonant ripple through the fabric of the universe. So, let us practice. Find a private space where you can speak aloud without feeling self-conscious. Stand tall, your spine straight, a posture of dignity and power. Take a deep, calming breath. Now, bring to mind your blueprint. Let us say it is one of radiant health. Generate the feeling of what it is like to be vibrantly healthy. Feel the energy, the flexibility, the pure, clean strength in your body. From that feeling state, speak your affirmation aloud, not with a shout, not with a whisper of doubt, but with the calm, clear conviction of a king or queen making a royal decree. My body is a miraculous self-healing organism. Every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health. I am radiantly alive. Say it again. My body is a miraculous self-healing organism. Every cell in my body vibrates with energy and health. I am radiantly alive. As you speak, feel the vibration of the words in your chest and your throat. You are literally tuning your physical instrument, your body, to the frequency of the reality you are declaring. You are commanding your cells to align with the blueprint of perfect health. You are speaking as if. This is the very essence of faith. Faith is not hoping something will be true. Faith is the courage to stand in your present circumstances, no matter what they look like, and declare a higher truth into being. You are not trying to convince an external, separate universe to change its mind about you. The universe already knows your infinite potential. You are convincing the layers of your own subconscious mind. You are overwriting the old, buggy software program of limitation and lack with the new, divinely coded program of freedom and abundance. With this newfound power comes the responsibility to become a vigilant guardian of your words. Every time you complain about the traffic, you are planting a seed of frustration and delay. Every time you engage in negative gossip about another person, you are planting seeds of separation and judgment in your own energetic field. Every time you look in the mirror and speak a word of self-criticism, you are taking the holy power of creation and using it to build the walls of your own prison. From this day forward, let your spoken words be reserved for beauty, for truth, for kindness, and for the conscious creation of your desired reality. When you are tempted to complain, pause, and instead find something to be grateful for and speak that aloud. When you are tempted to criticize, pause, and instead find a quality to appreciate and speak that aloud. Your voice is a magic wand. Your words are incantations. You have been casting spells your entire life without awareness. Now, you take up your power as a conscious magician, a benevolent creator. You speak only that which you wish to see flourish and grow in the magnificent garden of your life. You have drawn the blueprint with your mind. You have now planted the seeds with your spoken command. And what happens when you speak with such power and intention into the vastness of the cosmos? The cosmos, the great mirror of being, always speaks back. It is time now to understand the nature of this great universal echo. You have become the architect, holding the blueprint of your new reality. You have become the conscious gardener, speaking the seeds of your intention into the fertile soil of the universe. You have sent out a clear, vibrational command from the temple of your being. So what happens now? Do we wait in anxious hope? Do we plead with the heavens for a response? We do neither. We simply stand in quiet, confident awareness, and we learn to listen. We attune ourselves to the response, which is not random, not a matter of luck, but is governed by one of the most elegant, impersonal, and fundamental laws of existence, the law of resonance. We learn to hear the echo of the universe. Here is a truth that will change your relationship with creation forever. The universe does not give you what you want. It does not respond to your begging, your pleading, or your wishing. The universe, with perfect, unerring, mathematical accuracy, gives you a reflection of what you are. It echoes back to you the precise frequency of your dominant state of being. To understand this, imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast, silent, magnificent canyon. The air is still. The scale is immense. This canyon is the universe, the quantum field, the mind of God. It is a field of pure, receptive, creative potential. It has no opinion, no judgment, no favorites. It is a perfect, neutral mirror. Your state of being, the sum total of your dominant thoughts, your core beliefs, and your prevailing emotional state is the shout you send into this canyon. If you stand at the edge of this canyon and your entire being is saturated with the feeling of lack, loneliness, and fear, and you shout into the void, "I am so lonely and afraid," what do you suppose the canyon will echo back? It does not send back a comforting whisper or a message of hope. With perfect fidelity, it reflects the energy you have given it. The echo returns, lonely and afraid, afraid, afraid. And your experience of life will continue to validate this feeling. You will meet people who are unavailable. You will perceive rejection even where there is none, because that is the only frequency you are tuned to hear. For years, well-intentioned people have stood at the edge of this canyon, holding the belief that they need to shout what they want. So while their entire being is screaming the silent frequency of "I am in lack," they force a hopeful whisper, "I want wealth." The universe, being an honest and impersonal mirror, does not respond to the faint, inauthentic whisper. It responds to the powerful, dominant, vibrational scream. And so the echo that returns, to their great confusion and disappointment, is lack, lack, lack. This is why so many have become disillusioned with the law of attraction. They have been trying to fool the universe, to fool themselves, by overlaying a positive wish on top of a negative state of being. But the canyon never lies. The echo is always true. This is not just a poetic metaphor. It is the physics of resonance. Remember that your being is like a tuning fork. If you are vibrating at the specific frequency of anxiety, you will only perceive and activate resonant frequencies of anxiety in the energy field around you. Your reality becomes an echo chamber for your own inner state. An ambiguous email from your boss will be instantly interpreted as a threat to your job. The sound of a siren in the distance will be perceived as a sign of imminent danger. A neutral comment from your partner will be heard as a deep criticism. You are literally tuned in to a reality that validates your anxiety. The world is full of infinite potential signals, but you can only perceive the ones that resonate with your own frequency. Think of your consciousness as a vast radio receiver. The airwaves are filled with thousands of broadcasts on different frequencies: the joy station, the sorrow station, the abundance station, the scarcity station, the peace station, the conflict station. They are all being broadcast right now, simultaneously. You cannot tune your radio dial to 99.9 FM, the scarcity station, and hope to hear the beautiful music being played on 107.5 FM, the abundance station. It is a physical impossibility. To hear a different broadcast, you must retune the receiver. You must change your own frequency. This is why the act of wanting is so often counterproductive. The very state of intensely wanting something almost always arises from a deep, painful feeling of lacking it. It is a declaration of absence. It is tuning your radio dial firmly to the station of what is not here. And the universe, the great canyon, faithfully echoes back the reality of that absence. The great shift in consciousness occurs when you move from trying to get something to choosing to be something. You do not attract abundance. You cannot pull it toward you from some far-off place. Instead, you tune yourself to the frequency of abundance. You choose to be abundance. And then you simply perceive the abundance that was all around you, all along. You do not attract love. You choose to be love, and you suddenly find you can perceive the love that was always being offered in 1,000 different ways. To attract is a misnomer. You do not attract what you want. You manifest what you are. So, what is the work? The work is not to shout louder into the canyon. The work is not to chase after the echo. The work is to change the original sound. The work is to retune your own instrument. Your primary task is to become a resonant match for the reality you choose. How do you do this? You do it by embodying the feeling state of your wish fulfilled now, before you have any external evidence for it. This is the ultimate act of faith. Your work is not to chase the butterfly of joy. Your work is to become such a beautiful, vibrant, fragrant garden that the butterfly of joy has no choice but to land upon you. You do this by choosing to cultivate feelings of joy and gratitude now, for no reason at all other than your choice to do so. Sit in meditation and feel the feeling of profound peace, not as a distant goal, but as a present moment reality in the cells of your body. Walk through your day feeling a sense of gratitude for the simple miracle of your breath, for the warmth of the sun. Make your decisions not from a place of lack, but from the feeling state of wholeness. A person who is abundance manages their current resources with wisdom and gratitude, and looks for opportunities with an open and expectant heart. A person who is love interacts with the checkout clerk, the waiter, and their family with kindness and compassion. You must first be it in the microcosm of your own life, and the macrocosm will then rearrange itself to match. The universe is a perfect, non-judgmental mirror. It does not give you a reflection of your hopes, your dreams, or your desperate pleas. It gives you a flawless, instantaneous reflection of your own face, your own being, your own dominant frequency. It is the great echo chamber of your soul. Therefore, if you wish to change the reflection you see, you do not try to manipulate the mirror or argue with it. You must change your own expression. If you wish to change the echo that returns to you from the canyon walls, you must change the original sound you are making. And the most powerful and foundational sound you make, the broadcast that determines everything else, is the story you are constantly telling yourself about who you are and what is true. To change your reality, you must first be willing to rewrite your story. The universe is a perfect echo chamber. It does not argue. It does not judge. It simply and faithfully echoes back to you the dominant sound of your own being. And what is your being, if not a collection of stories that you have come to believe are true? We are not just living lives, we are living out narratives. These narratives are the invisible software programs that run our existence, the hidden scripts that determine our feelings, our actions, and the results we get. We are, all of us, living inside a story. The most powerful stories are the ones we do not know we are telling. We mistake them for objective reality. We think we are describing the world as it is, when in fact we are casting the world in a movie of our own making, a movie in which we are both the lead actor and the screenwriter. For too long, you have been acting out a script that was handed to you, a script written by the pains of your past, by the opinions of others, by the limitations of your culture. Today, we are going to expose that old script to the light, and then we are going to burn it. The first step in any liberation is to become aware of the prison. You must make your unconscious story conscious. These stories often hide behind seemingly innocent phrases like, "That's just the way I am," or "That's how life is." Let's look at some of the most common genres of these limiting scripts. See if you recognize your own personal movie. There is the tragedy, entitled The Victim. In this story, life is a series of unfortunate events that happen to you. The world is unfair, people are untrustworthy, and you are at the mercy of external forces. The key line of dialogue, repeated in scene after scene, is, "Why is this always happening to me?" The feeling tone is one of powerlessness and self-pity. There is the heart-wrenching drama called "I Am Not Enough." In this film, the protagonist is perpetually striving but never arriving. They are not smart enough, or attractive enough, or talented enough, or worthy enough to get what they truly want. They are constantly comparing themselves to others and finding themselves lacking. The key line of dialogue is, "If only I were different, then I could be happy." The feeling tone is one of shame and inadequacy. Then there is the anxiety-inducing thriller, "The World is a Dangerous Place." The protagonist of this story lives in a state of constant, low-grade fear. They must always be vigilant, always anticipate the worst-case scenario. Trust is naive, and vulnerability is a fatal error. The key line of dialogue is a frantic, repetitive, "What if?" The feeling tone is one of pervasive anxiety and tension. We also have the melancholy romance, "Love Always Hurts." In this script, every time the protagonist opens their heart, it leads to abandonment, betrayal, or pain. The story proves again and again that true, lasting, safe love is for other people. The key line of dialogue is, "Every time I let someone in, I get hurt." The feeling tone is one of guardedness, cynicism, and deep, unacknowledged grief. And let us not forget the austere black and white film, "There Isn't Enough." This is the story of scarcity. There is never enough money, never enough time, never enough opportunity. The protagonist must hoard, struggle, and compete for limited resources. The key line of dialogue is, "I can't afford that," which applies not just to money, but to joy, to rest, to dreams. The feeling tone is one of lack and constriction. What is the title of the movie you have been living? What is its genre? What are its recurring themes and lines of dialogue? Be radically honest with yourself. Become a detached critic and observe your own narrative. The moment you become aware of the story, you are no longer lost inside of it. You have stepped out of the role of the hypnotized actor and into the powerful chair of the screenwriter. And before you, on the desk, is a fresh, clean, empty page. This is a moment of supreme power. The first thing you must do is choose a new genre for your life. Will it now be a grand adventure of discovery and growth? Will it be a story of triumph, where the protagonist overcomes all obstacles through their inner strength? Will it be an inspiring tale of inspired creation and abundance, or a beautiful romance of deep self-love and authentic connection? Choose. You are the writer. The genre of your life is up to you. Next, you must redefine your protagonist. The hero of your new story is not the victim, the flawed seeker, or the anxious worrier. The hero of this new story is the conscious creator, the resilient adventurer, the loving sage. How does this new version of you walk? How do they talk? What are their core beliefs? What is their dominant feeling state? You must get to know this new character intimately, because this character is the true you, the you that has been waiting beneath the old script. Now, we begin the practical work of writing the new script. This is where your practice of affirmations and your power of I am become the new dialogue for your film. You go through the old, limiting lines and you consciously rewrite them. The old line was, "I'm not good enough to apply for that amazing job." The new line in your script is, "I am a person of immense talent, unique gifts, and infinite value. I am worthy and deserving of incredible opportunities, and I step into them with confidence and joy." Then, the old line was, "Love always leads to pain." The new line is, "My heart is open, strong, and resilient. I am a magnet for loving, respectful, and joyous relationships. I give and receive love freely and safely." The old line was, "I can never get ahead financially." The new line is, "I am a conscious and powerful creator of abundance. Money flows to me easily, frequently, and from multiple sources. I am a masterful steward of my prosperity." I strongly encourage you to get a physical notebook, a journal dedicated to being the script for your new life. Write in it daily. Write out your new affirmations. But go further. Write entire scenes from your new movie as if they have already happened. Write them in the past tense. Today was an incredible day. I woke up feeling energized and peaceful. An amazing and unexpected opportunity presented itself at work, and I handled it with grace and creativity. I had a wonderfully connected conversation with my partner where I felt truly seen and heard. The physical act of writing anchors the new narrative in the three-dimensional world. It makes it more real, more tangible. Of course, a script is useless if it just sits on the page. Now you must do the work of the master actor. You must step back into your life and consciously perform the new script. You must embody your new character. This is the ultimate form of method acting. Before you make a decision during your day, you pause and you ask yourself a new question. What would the hero of my new story do right now? What would the abundant, peaceful, courageous version of me choose? And then you do that. You choose the action that is in alignment with your new script, even if it feels unfamiliar or scary at first. You must understand that in the beginning, this may feel like you are pretending. That is perfectly normal and acceptable. You are overwriting decades of deeply ingrained mental and emotional programming. The grooves of the old story are very deep, but with consistent daily practice, by reviewing your new script every morning, by acting from it during the day, by writing new scenes at night, you will begin to carve new grooves. The new role will begin to feel more natural. The new dialogue will become your automatic thought. The new story will become your lived reality. You are not faking it. You are faithing it until it becomes your fact. Your life is the story you tell yourself. Nothing more, nothing less. So stop telling a story that is small, sad, or frightening. You hold the pen. You are sitting in the director's chair. You are the hero of the entire epic. Choose today to begin telling a magnificent story. A story of power, of love, of joy. A story worthy of the divine creator that you are. And as you begin to live this new story, you will find that one of the most powerful ways to cement this new reality, to make it feel true in every cell of your being, is to actively and relentlessly look for the good that is already present. It is the practice of alchemy. It is the powerful magic of gratitude. You have begun to write a new story for your life. You have taken the pen of consciousness and started to draft a magnificent blueprint, a narrative of power, love, and freedom. Now, I will share with you the most powerful tool to make this new story feel real, to accelerate its manifestation, to infuse its every word with the light of creation. This is not just a technique, it is a state of being. It is the secret of all joyful masters, the daily practice of all happy creators. It is the profound and beautiful magic of the alchemy of gratitude. For many, the word gratitude has become tired and thin. It has been relegated to a chore, a mental checklist we feel we should do. We are told to be grateful for our health, our family, our job. And so we recite the list with the joyless air of a child being forced to eat their vegetables. This kind of gratitude, born from a sense of duty or guilt, has very little power. It often reinforces a sense of lack, as if we are trying to convince ourselves that our meager portion is enough. Others approach gratitude as a crude transaction with the universe. If I say thank you for the little I have, maybe a cosmic parent will notice my good manners and give me more stuff. This, too, is a form of begging that comes from a place of scarcity. True, alchemical gratitude is something else entirely. It is a force of nature. It is a fundamental shift in perception. The ancient alchemists of lore searched for the fabled philosopher's stone, a mystical substance that was said to have the power to turn base metals, like lead, into pure, shining gold. This was always an allegory for a profound inner transformation. The base metal of lead represents our heavy, dense, ordinary, or even painful experiences. The pure gold represents wisdom, joy, abundance, and spiritual realization. The philosopher's stone is the catalyst for this transformation, and I tell you now, that catalyst, that legendary stone, is gratitude. Gratitude is the spiritual faculty that has the power to take any experience and transmute it into gold. It can take the leaden weight of a difficult challenge and reveal the golden lesson of strength and resilience hidden within it. It can take the dull, ordinary lead of your daily routine, the cup of coffee, the morning light, the chair that holds you, and transmute it into the shimmering gold of a precious, unrepeatable miracle. It does not deny the existence of the lead. It simply applies a higher perception to it, a perception so powerful that it reveals the golden essence that was always present but unseen. To understand how this works, we must return to the language of the universe. Vibration. Of all the emotional frequencies you can embody, gratitude is one of the highest, purest, and most potent. The frequency of wanting, needing, or desiring is, by its very nature, a frequency of lack. It is a vibrational declaration to the universe that says, "I do not have." It is a state of incompletion, of separation. The frequency of gratitude, however, is a powerful and resonant declaration of, "I already have, I am already blessed, I am already whole, my cup runneth over." It is the ultimate statement of sufficiency, of reception, of being in a state of grace. It is the frequency that aligns you perfectly with the endless abundance of the source. Let us stand again at the edge of the great canyon of the universe. When you shout into it from a state of genuine, heartfelt gratitude, "Thank you for the beauty and abundance in my life," what is the echo that must return? The universe does not simply echo back, "You're welcome." The universe, the perfect mirror, echoes back more experiences, more situations, more people, and more blessings for which to be thankful. When you can feel genuinely grateful for the single dollar in your pocket, celebrating it as a symbol of the universal flow of abundance, you are tuning your entire being to the frequency of, "I have money." The universe, by law, must then bring you more experiences that match that vibration. Conversely, if you bemoan the single dollar as proof of your lack, you are tuning yourself to the frequency of, "I do not have enough," and the universe will faithfully provide you with more bills and fewer opportunities, perfectly matching your broadcast. Gratitude is the master key that tunes your being to the frequency of receiving. This is not just metaphysics, it is neurology. The practice of gratitude physically rewires the neural pathways in your brain. It stimulates the production of dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters of well-being. It literally shifts your brain's focus, your reticular activating system, from scanning the world for threats, problems, and deficiencies, to actively scanning the world for blessings, opportunities, and things to appreciate. You begin to literally see a different world, not because the world has changed, but because you have trained your brain to look for the gold instead of the lead. So, let us begin the deep, alchemical practice of gratitude. We must go beyond the rote list of the big three: my job, my house, my family. The real magic, the true transformation, happens in the overlooked miracles of the ordinary. Find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Let us begin by transmuting the lead of your own physical body. For years, you have likely focused on its flaws, its aches, its imperfections. Now, let us bring the philosopher's stone of gratitude to it. Do not just be grateful for your health. Be grateful to your body. Silently or aloud, begin to thank it. Thank you, heart, for beating over 100,000 times today. A perfect, steady rhythm I did not have to command even once. Thank you for keeping me alive. Feel a wave of warm, golden gratitude flowing into your chest. Thank you, lungs, for drawing in the breath of life, for nourishing every cell in my being, for your constant, gentle work. Feel the gratitude in your breath. Thank you, feet, for carrying me through this world, for connecting me to the earth. Thank you, hands, for allowing me to create, to hold, to touch, to experience life. Continue this through your whole body. Feel your physical form, not as a source of problems, but as a miraculous, intelligent, self-healing ally. Now, let us practice with the ordinary miracles that surround you. Open your eyes and look around you. Let your gaze fall upon a simple object, perhaps the chair you are sitting in. Feel the lead of its ordinariness. Now, apply the stone. Feel gratitude for this chair. Feel the immense chain of creation that had to occur for it to be here, supporting you. A tree had to grow. A person had to design it. Many hands had to craft it, assemble it, transport it, all so that you, in this moment, could be held and supported. Feel genuine awe and thankfulness for the simple miracle of your chair. Do this with the clean water that flows from your tap. Do this with the light that fills your room at the flick of a switch. Do this with the food you eat. By practicing with these small things, you are training yourself to live in a state of constant, low-grade wonder. Now for the true alchemy, the master's practice. Bring to mind a challenge you are currently facing, a difficult situation in your life. This is a heavy piece of lead. Do not try to be grateful for the pain or the problem. That would be inauthentic. Instead, we are going to look for the gold within the lead. Holding this challenge in your mind, can you find something to be grateful for? Can you be grateful for the strength that this problem is forcing you to discover within yourself? Can you be grateful for the lesson in patience it is teaching you? Can you be grateful that this challenge is giving you profound clarity about what you no longer want and therefore what you truly desire to create? This is not about pretending to like your problems. It is about the powerful act of mining every experience, even the most difficult, for its hidden treasure. This practice will make you invincible. Finally, we will practice creative gratitude. This is the art of giving thanks for what has not yet manifested in the physical world, knowing with unshakable faith that it is already a finished fact in the spiritual realm. Bring your new blueprint, your new story, to mind, and begin to give thanks as if it is already done. This is not wishing, this is acknowledging. I am so deeply and profoundly grateful for the incredible abundance that flows into my life with grace and ease. Thank you. I am overjoyed and thankful for the deep, authentic, loving connection I share with my soulmate. Thank you. I am so grateful for the radiant health and boundless energy that infuses my body and my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Feel the profound gratitude of a prayer that has already been answered. This feeling state is the most powerful creative signal you can possibly emit. To make this your life, I invite you to 2 daily practices. First, a gratitude journal. Every morning or every evening, write down 5 new things you are grateful for and be specific. Not just my children, but the way my son held my hand today. Not just my home, but the feeling of my favorite blanket. This trains your mind to constantly scan your world for new gold. Second, a gratitude walk. Go for a walk with the sole intention of noticing things to be grateful for. The intricate pattern of veins on a fallen leaf, the architectural beauty of a building, the kindness of a stranger who smiles at you. Ultimately, gratitude is not something you do, it is something you become. It is a state of grace. It is a way of walking through the world with your heart wide open to the constant, unending flow of blessings. In a state of true, embodied gratitude, the feeling of lack cannot survive. It is impossible to feel genuinely thankful and to feel lack in the same moment. They are mutually exclusive vibrational realities. Gratitude is the ultimate antidote to the illusion of scarcity. The final secret of the alchemists was this: the philosopher's stone was never a physical object to be found. It was the alchemist's own transformed consciousness. By learning to see the gold in everything, they themselves became golden. By practicing gratitude, you are not just changing your experiences, you are transmuting your very essence. When you live from this golden state, you have mastered the art of receiving. You are in perfect alignment with the flow of universal good. And from this state of fulfillment, another profound secret reveals itself. You begin to understand that the feeling of your wish fulfilled is not just a tool to get something, it is the secret destination itself. We have walked the path of gratitude, the great alchemical art that turns the lead of ordinary experience into the gold of appreciation. Gratitude has tuned our being to the high and holy frequency of receiving. It has filled our hearts with a sense of fullness, preparing us for the next great revelation. We arrive now at the very heart of the creative process, the dynamic engine that drives all manifestation, the secret that lies hidden in plain sight. We have been taught to think, to believe, to speak, to act, but the masters of all ages have known that without this one key ingredient, all other efforts are in vain. The great secret is this: the feeling is the secret. This is perhaps the most profound and liberating truth you will ever encounter. For your entire life, you have been living under a fundamental misconception. You have believed that the outer world of things, people, and circumstances is the cause of your inner world of feeling. You believe, when I get the money, then I will feel secure. When I find the perfect partner, then I will feel loved. When I achieve the success, then I will feel worthy. You have been chasing external objects, believing they hold the key to the feeling state you desire. The great secret, the absolute reversal of this common belief, is that you have it completely backwards. You do not get the thing in order to have the feeling. You must first generate the feeling in order to get the thing. The feeling is not the reward at the end of the creative process. It is the potent, causative force at the very beginning of it. The feeling is the prayer that has already been answered. It is the alpha and the omega of creation. Why is this so? Why is feeling the secret? Because feeling is the native language of the subconscious mind. Your conscious, rational mind speaks in the language of words, of logic, of reasons, of linear time. It is the architect drawing the blueprint. But the subconscious mind, the great creative powerhouse within you, the master builder who is connected to the infinite, formless substance of the universe, does not understand words alone. It understands feeling. Feeling is the universal pre-verbal language. It is the language of the body, the language of energy, the language of vibration. When you repeat words of affirmation without any emotional connection, you are simply talking to your conscious mind. It is like shouting instructions in a foreign language to the master builder. The builder hears a noise, but does not understand the command. But when you embody a feeling, when you truly, viscerally feel the feeling of your desire as a present fact reality, you are impressing a new truth directly onto the receptive clay of your subconscious mind. The subconscious feels the feeling of, I am secure. And its only response is, I understand. Our reality now is security. I will therefore begin to arrange all circumstances, filter all perceptions, and inspire all actions to conform to this new inner reality of security. To your subconscious mind, a vividly felt emotion, a sustained inner state, is indistinguishable from an actual physical experience. It does not know the difference between a memory of something that has happened and an imagined scene that you are feeling as real right now. When you close your eyes and truly feel the joy and profound relief of having your desire already fulfilled, your subconscious mind accepts this imagined event as a finished fact. It logs it as a memory, a done deal. And since the job of the subconscious is to maintain a coherent reality, it must then begin to work tirelessly to rearrange the shadows of the outer world to match the new reality you have established within. Let us use our metaphor of the rocket. Imagine your desire, your clear, specific intention is a magnificent rocket ship sitting on a launch pad. It is perfectly designed. This is the blueprint you have created. Your spoken affirmations and your mental images are the precise coordinates you have programmed into the navigation system. The destination, your desired reality, is set. But the rocket remains inert, silent, and cold on the launch pad. The countdown can go on forever, but nothing will happen. Why? Because it has no fuel. Emotion, pure, sustained feeling, is the rocket fuel. It is the explosive, creative, life force energy that ignites the engines and provides the immense thrust required to lift your desire out of the invisible realm of potential and into the visible realm of physical expression. Trying to manifest a desire while you are in a state of desperation, neediness, or fear is like trying to fuel your rocket with water. It will not ignite. You cannot launch a rocket to the star system of abundance while your tanks are filled with the heavy, dense fuel of lack. You cannot journey to the world of love with the fuel of loneliness. It defies the laws of physics and metaphysics. You must fuel your rocket with the very energy of its destination. To journey to the star of abundance, you must fill your tanks to the brim with the feeling of abundance now. To journey to the world of love, you must fill your tanks with the warm, radiant feeling of being loved and loving now. This is the great work. It is not about straining to visualize or repeating empty words. It is the singular art of assuming and sustaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let us now engage in the practice. The most fertile time for this work is in the state akin to sleep, that relaxed, drowsy state just before you drift off at night or just as you awaken in the morning. In these moments, the loud, analytical, conscious mind is subdued, and the gateway to the subconscious is wide open. Get comfortable. Lie down and close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths, releasing the tensions of the day. Now, bring your desire to mind, just for a moment, and ask yourself this all-important question. If my desire were a completely finished reality, a present fact right now, what single feeling would dominate my consciousness? Would it be the feeling of profound relief, the feeling of exuberant joy, the feeling of quiet, unshakable security, the feeling of triumphant freedom, the feeling of deep, unconditional love? Do not rush. Identify the core feeling. Now, this is the secret. Let go of the mental image of your desire and simply assume the feeling itself. If the feeling is relief, then do not think about relief. Simply begin to feel relief. Let a wave of pure relief wash over your entire body. Feel your shoulders, which were tense with striving, now relax with the deep peace of a battle that has been won. Let a gentle, quiet smile of relief touch your lips. Inhabit the feeling of relief as if you were putting on a perfectly tailored suit of clothes. Wear the feeling, become one with it. From within this sustained feeling, you can allow a short, simple, sensory vivid scene to play in your imagination. The scene must be one that implies your wish is already fulfilled. For example, if you desired a new home, you might imagine the simple act of turning your new key in the lock, feeling its cool metal in your hand. If you desired healing, you might imagine a loved one embracing you and saying, "You've never looked better." See it through your own eyes, hear it with your own ears, feel the reality of it. Then let the scene fade and simply rest in the feeling, rest in the quiet, wordless thank you of a prayer that you know has been definitively answered. And then fall asleep in that feeling. Let that feeling be the last thing you are conscious of as you drift into the subconscious realm of sleep. You will soon come to realize the most liberating truth of all. The feeling you have been seeking, the joy, the peace, the security, the freedom is not just the means to an end, it is the end itself. It is what you have truly wanted all along. The external things, the money, the house, the person, the achievement, were just the symbols you thought you needed to grant yourself permission to feel this way. The great liberation is realizing that you do not need permission. You can choose to generate and inhabit your desired feeling state right now, for no other reason than your own choice to do so. This is true freedom. When you grasp this, your entire orientation to the world changes. You understand that every feeling you sustain, every emotional state you inhabit, is not just a fleeting personal experience. It is a creative cause that you are setting in motion. It is a vibrational seed that must, by law, find its corresponding expression in your world. This is not a system of reward or punishment. It is simply the elegant, impersonal, and ultimately benevolent law of cause and effect. This is the true nature of karma. With the discovery that feeling is the secret, you now understand that your inner emotional state is a powerful creative cause. Every feeling you sustain, every emotional frequency you inhabit, is not just a personal experience. It is a seed you are planting in the fertile ground of the universe, a seed that must, by law, bear fruit. This realization leads us directly to one of the most profound and yet most profoundly misunderstood concepts on the entire spiritual path, the law of karma. For many in the Western world, and even in parts of the East, the word karma evokes fear. It conjures images of a cosmic judge, a stern, bearded old man in the sky with a vast and detailed ledger, meticulously recording our rights and our wrongs. In this view, karma is a system of divine retribution. If you do something bad, you accumulate a karmic debt, and the universe will punish you, either later in this life or in a future one. If you do something good, you earn good karma and will be rewarded. This model, though widespread, is a human projection born of a fear-based, dualistic consciousness. It is a way to control behavior through the threat of punishment and the promise of reward. It creates a sense of spiritual anxiety, a fear of making a mistake, and a heavy burden of past sins that must be paid for. I am here to tell you that this interpretation, while understandable, is a fundamental distortion of a beautiful, elegant, and liberating universal law. Let us strip away all the layers of fear, dogma, and superstition. At its core, the Sanskrit word karma simply means action or deed. The law of karma is none other than the universal law of cause and effect, the same law that governs all of physics. It is as impersonal, as neutral, and as reliable as the law of gravity. The law of gravity does not punish you for stepping off a cliff. It simply responds to the cause stepping off a cliff with a predictable effect. The law of karma is exactly the same. It simply states that every action, every word, every thought, every feeling is a cause that must have a corresponding effect. The universe does not operate on a human system of morality. It does not deal in our subjective concepts of good and bad. The universe deals in energy and vibration. It responds to the frequency of a cause, not its moral label. An action born from a state of love, generosity, and compassion is a high-frequency cause. By the law of resonance, it must attract back to you an effect that vibrates at a similar high-frequency and experience of love, generosity, or compassion. An action born from a state of fear, anger, scarcity, or deceit is a low-frequency cause. By the same impersonal law, it must attract back to you an effect that matches that low frequency and experience of fear, conflict, or lack. This is not a reward. This is not a punishment. It is physics. When you plant an apple seed, you get an apple tree. The earth does not reward you with apples. It simply responds perfectly to the information encoded in the seed you planted. If you plant a seed of a poisonous nightshade, you will get a poisonous nightshade. The earth does not punish you with poison. It simply responds, without judgment, to the cause you set in motion. The law of karma is the law of spiritual agriculture. You can only reap what you have sown. Perhaps the most helpful and liberating way to understand karma is to see it as a perfect, flawless, 360-degree mirror that surrounds you at all times. This mirror is the universe itself. Now, think about the nature of a mirror. A mirror has no opinion. It has no agenda. It has no personality. If you stand before a mirror and you smile, the mirror smiles back at you instantly. It does not judge whether your smile is sincere or worthy of being reflected. It simply reflects. If you stand before the mirror and you scowl, and you shake your fist in anger, the mirror scowls and shakes its fist back at you with perfect accuracy. The mirror is not angry with you. The mirror is not punishing you. It is simply and perfectly showing you your own face. It is showing you the energy you are projecting. For most of our lives, we have been living in a profound state of misunderstanding. We have been getting angry at the reflection in the mirror. We look out at the world and see conflict, and we blame the world. We experience betrayal, and we blame the people who betrayed us. We face lack, and we blame the economy. We are shouting at our own reflection, trying to intimidate it or plead with it to show us a different image, all the while failing to realize that the image in the mirror can only change when we change our own expression first. From this perspective, karma is transformed from a terrifying judge into our greatest and most compassionate teacher. The events of your life, the people who show up, the situations you find yourself in, the reflection in the mirror, are not random. They are a perfect, customized, real-time feedback mechanism. If you consistently see anger and conflict being reflected back at you in your relationships, the universe is not punishing you. It is gently, or perhaps not so gently, holding up the mirror and saying, "Look, this is the energy you are carrying within you. This is the frequency you are broadcasting. Do you see it now?" It is your loving teacher, inviting you to look at your own inner state and choose a different one. This understanding shifts us from a position of powerlessness to a position of immense power. We stop asking the victim's question, "Why is this happening to me?" And we start asking the Creator's question, "What is this reflection showing me about myself?" Look at a recurring negative pattern in your life, a karmic loop you seem to be stuck in. Instead of bemoaning your fate, ask with genuine curiosity, "What is the mirror showing me? What unconscious belief, What unresolved emotional state within me is calling this experience forth for my own learning? When you see the reflection and you understand the feedback, you have the power to break the cycle. The clearing of karma is not about suffering through years of penance for past mistakes. It is about learning the lesson. The moment you see your angry reflection in the mirror and you realize, the anger is in me, and you do the inner work to heal that anger, to replace it with peace and forgiveness, you have changed the cause. The karmic pattern is now complete. The lesson has been learned. You do not need to keep repeating the class. You are free. This is why forgiveness both of others and, most importantly, of yourself is such a powerful karmic cleanser. Forgiveness is an alchemical act that changes your inner vibration, thus shattering the old, painful reflection in the mirror forever. This true understanding of karma is the ultimate liberation. It removes all fear of a punishing God or a vengeful universe and places the power squarely back in your own hands, where it has always been. You are not a sinner awaiting judgment. You are a divine creator standing at the center of a perfectly responsive universe. Every moment is a new moment. Every moment is a fresh opportunity to plant a new seed, to offer a new expression to the mirror. When you truly understand this elegant and benevolent law, you realize that the most powerful creative act is not to struggle to change the outer world, but to inhabit the inner world of your desire so completely, so faithfully, that the mirror of reality has no choice but to reflect it. This is the art of not just visiting your desired reality in your imagination, but taking up permanent residence there. This is the final, masterful practice of living in the end. We have arrived at the final technique, the master key that unlocks the gate of reality itself. We have journeyed inward to heal, and we have learned the laws of creation. We understand that our feeling state is the secret, and that karma is a perfect mirror, not a punishing judge. This leads us to a final, powerful, and logical conclusion. To change the reflection in the mirror, we must become the person we wish to see reflected. We do not strive, we do not chase, we do not even attract, we simply become. This is the profound art and science of living in the end. The conventional human approach to a goal is to see it as a destination at the end of a long and arduous journey. We stand here, in our current state of perceived lack, and we see our desire over there, far off in the future. The entire space between here and there is filled with struggle, with obstacles, with time, with doubt. This very mindset, the mindset of the journey, is what keeps your desire perpetually at a distance. By defining it as a future event, you are commanding it to remain in the future. By seeing yourself as separate from your goal, you are creating and sustaining that separation. Living in the end is a quantum leap in consciousness. It is the refusal to take the long, painful journey. It is the spiritual audacity to mentally and emotionally teleport your consciousness directly to the destination and to begin living from that destination now, as a present fact. You do not walk towards your desire. You live from your desire. You are no longer a person who wants to be wealthy. You are a wealthy person figuring out how you got here. You are no longer a person who wants to be in a loving relationship. You are a person who is cherished and adored, remembering the love that surrounds you. This is the most potent shift you can ever make. To grasp this fully, imagine your life as a film. The conventional way to experience it is to watch from the opening credits. You watch the protagonist, who is you, struggling with their problems, facing obstacles, overcoming challenges, and hopefully, maybe, if they are lucky, arriving at a happy ending. But this is the path of uncertainty and effort. The master creator does not do this. The master walks into the great cosmic cinema of their mind, past all the early scenes of struggle and doubt, and goes directly to the final reel of the film. They sit down and watch the last 5 minutes. In this final scene, the hero has already won. The business is an international success. The loving family is gathered around the table, laughing. The body is healed, vibrant and strong. The book is a bestseller. The piece is profound and unshakable. The master creator immerses themselves in this final scene, but they do not just watch it as a detached observer. They enter the screen. They merge with the consciousness of the protagonist in that final scene. They feel what that version of themselves feels. They think the thoughts that version of them thinks. They look out through that person's eyes and see the world from the perspective of complete victory, of profound fulfillment, of a prayer that has long been answered. They marinate in the feeling state of the wish fulfilled. Then, the master creator performs the most crucial act. They walk out of the cinema and back into their current three-dimensional reality, but they consciously refuse to leave the feeling and the mindset of that final scene behind. They bring the consciousness of their fulfilled self back with them into their present moment. They are now a divine actor playing a role, the role of their own future, fulfilled self. They begin to live, walk, talk, think, and feel as if the movie has already ended happily. This is the art you must now master. It is not complicated, but it requires a kind of gentle, persistent, inner discipline. The first step is to define your end with absolute clarity. Who is the you that already has everything you desire? What are their qualities? The person who has resolved all their financial issues is not anxious about money. They are relaxed, they are confident, they are generous, they are a wise steward of their resources. The person who is in a deeply loving and secure relationship is not needy or jealous. They are compassionate, trusting, and filled with a sense of their own worthiness. You must write down the characteristics of this fulfilled self. Get to know this person, for this person is your true self. Your practice of living in the end begins the moment you wake up, before you open your eyes, before the anxieties and problems of the day can rush in and grip you. You immediately and deliberately assume the consciousness of your fulfilled self. You ask your heart, what would I be feeling right now if all my dreams had come true? You find that feeling perhaps it is an immense sense of gratitude, perhaps it is a quiet, smiling peace, perhaps it is a thrilling sense of joy. You find it, and you flood your entire body with that feeling before your feet even touch the floor. You begin your day not as the person who is striving, but as the person who has arrived. Then, you move through your day embodying this character. This must inform your every choice and action. When you are faced with a decision, you no longer ask the old question, what should I do? Or, what is the safe thing to do? You ask the new question, how would the person I am becoming handle this? What would the fulfilled me, the version of me living in the end, choose right now? And then you do that. Would the abundant version of you buy the cheapest possible coffee out of a mindset of fear and lack? Or would they confidently and gratefully buy the delicious coffee they truly want, knowing they are worthy and infinitely supported? You choose the action that corresponds to the state of fulfillment. You must become a vigilant policeman of your inner conversations. Your imagination is always active. The question is, what is it rehearsing? The unconscious person spends their day having imaginary arguments, replaying past hurts, and rehearsing future worries. This is living in the end of a tragedy. You must stop this. The moment you catch yourself having a negative inner conversation, you must cease it immediately. And you must consciously replace it with the inner conversation you would be having if you were already the person you desire to be. Would you be mentally planning a celebratory vacation? Would you be feeling a deep sense of gratitude for your wonderful life? Would you be silently sending love to your friends and family? Have that inner conversation instead. This practice alone will transform your life. This is what is known as a mental diet. You put yourself on a strict regimen where you refuse to entertain any thought or any feeling that does not belong to your fulfilled self. Any thought of doubt, fear, jealousy, or lack is considered poison, mental junk food. You notice it when it arises, you refuse to consume it, you refuse to give it your emotional energy, and you immediately replace it with a thought from your new, chosen state of consciousness. At the end of your day, the practice continues. As you lie in your bed, you review the events of the day. If anything occurred that was out of alignment with your new story, a moment of fear, a difficult conversation, you revise it in your imagination. You rewrite the scene. You replay it in your mind's eye as it should have happened, the way the fulfilled you would have handled it. You feel the satisfaction of this revised scene as if it were a real memory. Then, as you drift into sleep, you lull yourself with the dominant feeling of your wish fulfilled. A simple word or phrase repeated until you lose consciousness. Thank you. It is done. Isn't it wonderful? You fall asleep in the cozy bed of your fulfilled desire. You may ask, but how do I do this when my current reality still shows me the opposite? This is the test of faith. Living in the end does not mean denying the facts of your current 3D world. You see the bill on the table, you acknowledge it without panic, but you do not give it your primary emotional energy or focus. You see it as a temporary shadow, a relic from the old reality, a part of the bridge of incidents, that series of natural and often surprising events that the universe is arranging to lead you from where you are to the end you have assumed. Your only job is to remain unswervingly faithful to your inner assumption, to the feeling of the end. The how, the when, and the who are not your business. That is the domain of the universe, the master builder who is working from your new blueprint. Trying to figure out the how is a sign of doubt. It is the act of picking up the oars again and starting to row against the current. You are no longer waiting for a sign from the world. Your persistent, faithful assumption is the sign. You are no longer waiting for your world to change. You are the inner change that compels the outer world to shift. By living faithfully and joyfully in the end, you collapse time. You make your future a present fact. And when this state of being becomes your natural home, you will discover that even your words and your focused intentions become secondary. Your very presence, your silent, unspoken radiance, becomes the most powerful creative statement of all. We have walked the master's path of living in the end. We have practiced the art of assuming the consciousness of our fulfilled self, of remaining faithful to our inner vision, regardless of outer circumstances. We have learned that our only true work is to inhabit this new state of being. The inevitable and beautiful question that arises is this: what happens when the practice is no longer a practice? What happens when the state you have been consciously assuming becomes your natural, default, effortless state of being? The answer is that you arrive at the final stage of mastery. You graduate from the school of conscious creation. The techniques that have served you so well, the affirmations, the visualizations, the focused feeling states become like the scaffold around a magnificent, completed building. They were essential for its construction, but now the building stands on its own, glorious and solid, and the scaffolding can be gently removed. You discover the ultimate power, a power that operates beyond thought and beyond words. You discover the power of the unspoken word, your own silent, effortless, and transformative radiance. For most of our journey, we have been like a small ship, navigating a vast and sometimes stormy ocean. We have needed our tools. The anchor of the breath kept us steady. The compass of the body showed us our true north. The blueprint of our new story was our map. The rocket fuel of feeling propelled us forward. These tools were vital. They brought us out of the storm of the unconscious mind and into the clear waters of conscious creation. But the goal of any great sea journey is to reach the safe harbor. Once your ship is moored in the calm, crystalline waters of the harbor, you no longer need to consult the map or check the compass with the same urgency. You have arrived. But the final stage of this journey is even more profound than arriving at the harbor. You do not just dock your ship there, you undergo a final transformation. You become the lighthouse that stands at the harbor's entrance, tall and serene, rooted in the unshakable rock of your own being. Consider the nature of a lighthouse. A lighthouse does not chase after ships, trying to guide them. A lighthouse does not shout warnings or instructions into the storm. A lighthouse does not worry if the ships see its light or appreciate its service. It does not feel anxiety about the ships that are sailing in the wrong direction. It has only one, simple, effortless function: to be and to shine. Its shining is not something it does. It is the natural, inevitable consequence of what it is. It is a lamp that is lit from within. And by simply being itself, by shining its authentic, unwavering light into the darkness, it naturally and effortlessly fulfills its purpose. The ships that are seeking its particular harbor, the ones that are attuned to its frequency of light, are drawn to it irresistibly. It is their beacon of safety, of clarity, of homecoming. The ships that are meant for other harbors, or those who are content to wander in the darkness, simply pass by. The lighthouse feels no sense of rejection or failure. There is no struggle, there is no effort. There is only being, and from that being, shining. This is the state of consciousness you now enter. When you have so fully and completely inhabited your new story, your new state of being, you no longer need to constantly affirm it with words. Your very presence becomes the affirmation. Your peaceful energy, your quiet confidence, your loving nature, your aura of abundance. This is your radiance. This is the light that you shine, without effort, into the world. The light itself is the unspoken word. It is a silent, powerful, continuous declaration that says to the universe, I am peace. I am love. I am abundance. What does it feel like to live as the lighthouse? It feels like grace. It feels like effortlessness. Things begin to come to you, rather than you having to chase after them. The right people, the perfect opportunities, the brilliant ideas, they seem to find you. This is not luck, it is resonance. The universe, like the ships at sea, is simply arranging itself around the clear, steady, powerful signal of your light. You find yourself consistently in the right place at the right time. Synchronicity becomes your normal daily experience. You also become profoundly non-reactive. You are the lighthouse, rooted in bedrock. You can observe the storms of the world, the political dramas, the economic fears, the interpersonal conflicts, but you are not in them. You are not tossed by their waves. Your inner peace is no longer contingent on the weather of the outer world. From your place of serene stability, you can offer your light, your compassion, your peace to the storm, but you are not consumed by it. Your presence itself becomes a silent, healing influence. You will find that people feel calmer around you. They feel seen and accepted. You don't have to give them advice or try to fix their problems. Your peaceful presence is the teaching. Your loving energy is the medicine. You heal and uplift the world simply by being the radiant, peaceful being that you are. And you develop a beautiful detachment from specific outcomes. The lighthouse is not attached to which ships arrive at the harbor. It shines for all. In the same way, you release the anxious need for things to turn out in one specific way. You trust that what is for you will be drawn to your light, and you release the rest with love and blessings. Your joy is no longer dependent on what happens. Your joy is your state of being, your inner light shining. Our journey into creation began by stepping out of the fertile silence of the sacred pause and speaking the first creative word, I am. We used the tools of thought, language, and feeling to consciously construct a new reality. Now, having built that reality and having moved into it so completely that it has become our very nature, we find ourselves returning to a new kind of silence. It is not the empty, waiting silence we started with. It is a full, vibrant, radiant silence. It is the silence of a fulfilled being. You no longer need to constantly say, "I am peaceful," because your very presence radiates peace. Your being is the unspoken "I am." The declaration is no longer a vocal act. It is a constant, silent, vibrational fact. The work is done. The journey of becoming has led you back to the truth of your being. The striving ceases. Your only practice now is to simply inhabit your own light, to be the lighthouse, to tend to the lamp within through your simple, loving awareness, and to allow it to shine, without agenda, without effort, for the simple joy of it. This is the ultimate expression of your divine nature, not in what you do, not in what you say, but in the silent, luminous quality of your presence. This is the unspoken word. This is your radiance. We have now journeyed from the deepest valleys of healing to the highest peaks of creation. We have traveled from the chaotic marketplace of the unconscious mind to the serene, steady light of our own radiant being. Now, let us gather all that we have learned and experienced and distill it into a final, simple, and unforgettable truth. And so, our journey together comes to a gentle close. We have traveled far, not across miles of land, but across the vast and infinite landscapes of the soul. We have walked the twin paths of healing and creation, of silence and the word, only to discover that they are, and always were, a single, unified circle of being. We began our journey by stepping out of the chaotic marketplace of the unobserved mind. We found our anchor in the simple, profound rhythm of the breath. We learned that we are not the fleeting clouds of thought and emotion, but the vast, open sky in which they appear. With the gentle, radiant sun of our own awareness, we learned to melt the frozen ice of past pain, not with force, but with love. We found the courage to become explorers of our own inner geography, to embrace the richness of solitude, and to hear the unerring wisdom of the body's compass. And finally, we learned the supreme grace of surrender, of letting go of the oars and trusting the great river of life to carry us into the power and potential of the sacred pause. From that sacred stillness, a new power was born. We claimed the royal seal of our own divinity, the creative word, "I am." We embraced our role as the conscious architect of our reality, drafting new blueprints for a life of joy and freedom. We learned to plant seeds of intention with our spoken words, to listen for the universe's perfect echo, and to courageously rewrite the limiting stories of our past. We discovered the great secret, that the feeling is the prayer that has already been answered. We understood that karma is not a punishing judge, but a perfect mirror, our greatest teacher. This path of conscious creation led us to the ultimate practice of living in the end, of embodying our fulfilled self, until the practice was no longer needed. Until we became the lighthouse, shining our own effortless radiance, our presence a silent, powerful, unspoken word. Do you see the beautiful symmetry now? These were not two separate journeys. They are the two inseparable movements of a single divine rhythm, like the breath itself. The inward journey into silence is the sacred in-breath, the gathering of power, the remembering of who you are. The outward journey of the word is the sacred out-breath, the expression of that power, the becoming of who you are. You are not one or the other. You are the wholeness that contains both. You are the deep, silent, mysterious ocean, holding all the peace and power of the universe within your infinite depths. And you are also the magnificent, powerful wave that rises from that ocean to consciously shape the shores of your reality. Do not choose between being the ocean and being the wave. You are the ocean expressing itself, for a time, as a wave. Your power is in your depth, and your purpose is in your expression. If you are to take away only one truth from our time together, let it be this: a simple, elegant guide for a conscious and beautiful life. Be still and know, then speak, and become. Be still and know your true nature as the silent, peaceful, ever-present sky. Know your power, know your divinity, know that you are already whole and complete. Then speak and become the architect of your world. Speak with the authority of your knowing. Become the wave that you are. Become the love, the joy, the abundance that is your birthright. The journey is complete, but your life as a conscious creator is just beginning. Go now, not as a seeker, but as a finder, not as a victim, but as an architect, not as a ship lost in the storm, but as the lighthouse, rooted and radiant. The world is waiting for your light. Shine on.